Oh, not at all. Good evening, everyone. Let's call this meeting to order, Thursday, July 18th, 6:30 p.m. Let the record show that. Let's do the pledge of allegiance here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. How many times I've said that when I mess that up? My mind must be preoccupied. My apologies. Roll call, please, to see if we've met a quorum.
Kevin Hall.
Here.
Sally Knuckles.
Here.
Cliff Springmeyer.
Here.
Brett Martin.
Present.
Grant Allen. Garrett Hancock. Jason Gray. We have a quorum.
Okay, let the record show it. Moving on to the consent agenda, as you can see. Wow, let's break this down. Approval of the regular meeting minutes of June 20th, approval of the regular meetings of July 11th. Let's start there with those two. Do I see amendments that need to be put into the record that you know of? And let's just take those two for the moment.
There's one thing that I need to say on the last meeting we had last week, the town attorney report. I recused myself for what was going on with Buddy Young, but I did not recuse, just want to make the record correct that I did not recuse myself for the transfer of the Dolores County property. The way it's written here, it makes it sound like I recused myself on all of it. And I just recused myself for Buddy Young's, not the transfer of the property.
Okay, so I've got it. Trustee Allen moved, seconded by trustee Gray to make the clerk the code's official. Trustee Hall recused himself due to conflict of interest. We're right here.
It just sounded to me like I was recusing myself on the whole thing. I might be wrong.
Okay, here's what you do. As far as make a separate line item to type in there that trustee Hall, what's the word? Recused?
Mhm.
Is that the word?
Recused,
Yep.
yeah.
Recused himself from the
Buddy Young
the code enforcement on
incident, yeah.
the Young property.
Young property,
Yes,
okay.
but not against the
And
transfer.
I just put in not against any transfer, and then we'll make that amendment to it,
Okay,
and then we'll make that official. Okay, with that amendment in place. So moved. Sally seconds. Do you have something else?
I move that we approve the June 20th and July 11th minutes
Okay.
with the addition or
Amendment,
amendment
okay.
of Kevin's recusal for the code enforcement only and not the transfer.
Okay. Cliff, I need you to second. I need him to stay out of it. Okay, I have a second by trustee Springmeyer. If there's no further, any other discussion on those minutes? Okay, then let's have a motion to approve the meetings of those two.
I think we just did.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed, motion carries. Moving on, the expenditure vouchers of July 18th. Lorraine, is there anything out of the ordinary that you
Yes.
need to bring to the board's
And I
attention?
think it's the very last page in that section,
Okay,
last two pages. It's for Sauter Miller.
did you guys see the solid invoice? Okay, now does that, as I was looking at, does that finish our 357,000? Is that our last payment to Sauter Miller? For the original 357 without
Right
the
here.
extension of the contract? I was noticing 357,
Contract amount, percentage complete, so there's
89% complete.
Yep, so that is not, this is not.
We're
the
not
final.
quite there
No.
yet then.
And neither is this, since 37.
Okay, and then we're at 37% on that's the change order there, right?
Yeah, and neither one of these are EID. So neither one of these fall under the admin planning grant. Just to be clear.
Catch up with that, but I needed to clarify that. Okay, is there any other expenditures there that you need to brief the board about that is out of the ordinary?
No, just we need to talk about the opioid, but that doesn't have anything to
Yeah.
do with the expenditures.
Okay, a motion to approve the expenditures. If you guys have no other questions.
I make a motion that we approve the expenditures.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, we've got that in place. Mr. Archer, I'm glad to see you here. I'm gonna turn the floor over to you, and I need you to enlighten, you don't know I'm doing that, but I'm gonna do that. Can you enlighten us on the opioid? I mean, I was telling the group, the new members here, that you advised us to opt out of that opioid settlement about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
What is happening now with this? Can you explain that? What are we looking at there?
Well, those funds have all come in. Everybody in the region that we're in has opted out of that. So those funds are all going into a common pool. And then there's been grants awarded out of that. Every county was able to apply for grants for rehabilitation or to help people with the opioid abuse.
And there's one of the comments from the board is there's usually a lot of strings attached to these kind of settlements. Do you have a recommendation for the board from your perspective?
As recommendation as far as what?
What are they asking us to do here?
They're asking us to be part of that group. So what we're doing is we're signing saying that the town of Duff Creek is not going to go after them individually for the opioid settlement.
Okay, that's part of getting the money for the settlement. The county opted out of that as well, where we just tell the drug companies that are being sued that this settlement is enough and we won't go after them.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
so if you have any questions on that, Heather Otter over at Region 9 has been handling most of that.
Yep, and we haven't signed this, but that's exactly what they're asking us to do, is to opt into this so that we can't sue them and get $30. It'll go towards the pool.
Guys, you're not making me understand.
Um,
Am I just that thick-headed?
so Region 9 is trying to get all these little towns and counties to go and say that each town and county isn't going to sue them individually, and we're gonna go in together as a group. So what we're signing here is saying, we are not going to sue you individually.
Okay,
Like the town of Duck Creek is not
Okay.
gonna attack.
yeah, I don't want to do that.
No, because I think our share would be about $30, literally. We can't do anything with that. But if we pool our money in and do it this way,
So your recommendation is
to sign it.
to sign it.
Mhm.
And I agree. That's what Morris County did. That's what, and so far, every county and municipality in the region has done that.
Board members? Oh, I need your permission to sign on your behalf is what that amounts to. With Commissioner Garcher's recommendation and what our town clerk is recommending, I am leaning in favor of signing it based on those two recommendations.
Do we need a motion? Is that what you-
Yeah,
We do.
I need your motion to give me permission to sign on.
So
everybody's
let's
behalf.
make a motion that we sign the opioid agreement.
Do I have a second? We have a motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry. And it's okay if you want to vote no, but because of lack of that, that's fine. I don't expect a yes every time. Whatever your instincts tell you.
I want to vote yes to not pursuing them, but I thought when I read this, I misunderstood because I thought
You think it was the other way on the
I
signature? what it
do.
means.
So we
Okay.
must take action in order to participate.
You must take action in order to participate, which would normally require a signature.
Correct.
But you're telling me the signature is to step out of that.
No, step into it.
Oh, step
to
into it.
participate. Yep.
Okay, you
Participate
want
in
me
this
to
group,
Participate in it as a
so we
group.
will not attack
And that's what
individually.
he's telling me too.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
You don't want to do it alone.
No.
It'd be way too expensive.
And for like our shares, I think it's really $30. That's what we would
Okay.
get out of it.
Let's go ahead and, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Okay, I'll move forward with that. Then she's got D, approval of parks and recreation expenditures. I should have included that in A and B. Anything in the parks and rec expenditures, Lorraine or Christie, that needs to be brought to the board's attention? Other than just the standard expenditures?
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. Anything from the boards as they look at it? Okay, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the expenditures as presented.
I move that we approve the Parks and Recreation expenditures as presented.
Second it.
Okay, looks like I'm jumping around on section 2, aren't I, guys? Keep me straight. Come down to the invoice from SMA. You just talked about it, but you need clarification, or what are you looking for from the board? Invoice from SMA, item F,
Just to approve it, because it's,
because it's outside of
Yeah.
the ordinary,
it
but it's a
is-
commitment the board's already signed.
it has. Mhm.
So when it's awareness thing and not necessarily
Correct.
needing a vote at this point. Is that correct?
We're just looking at 24,000, 23,000.
Now, while I'm on that, no, I'll get to that later, and I'll ask those questions when when I turn the floor over to him. Okay, let's move on to the acronyms, RFPORC. Sounds like a cheerleader, doesn't it? I called David earlier and visited with him on the phone. This must be Mr. David over here, right? I'm glad to have you tonight. You came early enough and then you went and gave him a field trip over there. From the water treatment plant, so he kind of knows what kind of duty he's stepping in. Anyway, if you want to introduce him a little bit, and then I'll have the board ask some questions.
You bet. So, yeah, this is Dave Johnson. He comes up from Mancus. He actually replaced Chris as head of ORC over there. I think it was just clarification because he wasn't sure how to introduce his proposal because he's never seen the plant. He doesn't know the daily duty routine or the time we spend. And he didn't know what we expected from him. And I didn't know what he expected from us, what we're gonna cover, how many times he wants to be here. So if that helps you at all, Dave, I hope so.
So I just heard about this from Chris Kramer, and he used to be our ORC at Mancus. And I was telling Dagan that I worked there for probably 2 years before I knew who Chris was. So he wasn't around too much. So I was thinking my proposal was sort of like a base fee. I don't know if you guys want me to come visit here, if that falls under extra duties under the $40 an hour proposal. Because for me, it is a long drive. It's an hour drive to get here. So it's a whole lot of driving.
Imagine the clock would have to start and include travel time, but when you met with Dagan, and I'll bring Dagan to the table, what are your expectations as far as his duties to assist you in that water treatment plant? I would think that when that weekend you spent 3 days and nights up there babysitting that, having a resource such as David and looking at his resume, his background is definitely something that interests me. But what are your expectations of his duties? How would you list that?
Definitely, when the plant goes into disarray like that, I would ask him to come up. Right now, we kind of do the same umbrella like that under Chris. But we do it every day because Chris doesn't come up. So the town guys go every day, collect the data, fill chemicals, and just do a daily overview of that plant. Now, hopefully it's gonna change real soon once that filter tech upgrade finally takes place, and he will be able to remotely access and run certain parts of that plant. And that would cut down on the trips needing to come up. But I'm, at this point, I was just open to his needs, because I know he is a long ways away. And the SCADA update hadn't been completed yet. And the responsibility that falls on him on the ORC, as the ORC, I figured he might have a number of days he wanted to come check it out. I didn't know where that fell in his wants.
Okay, as far as the board here, what we're searching for is trying to find a license to operate under when Chris steps away. You have got the correct licensing credentials, and then you're willing to accept that responsibility as an ORC. Now, with that, it's going to be your responsibility to make sure the day-to-day activities, since we're using your license for your day-to-day activities, and you to work with Dagan, and then he works with his staff and gives you everything necessary to fill your reports to the state. I would expect you to fill out the reports to the state as our representative. Is that what you're, is that what?
Yes, so we kind of went over the end of the month reporting, regulated by the state, and sampling, monthly sampling. And so we kind of touched base on that, and my guys, they handle it. It's good that they're involved, especially if I got a couple that's really wanting to pursue the certification. So keeping them involved is important. But like the end of the month reporting, he won't have to come gather charts. He should be able to pull it up on the SCADA program, and then the sampling, unless he just wants to be involved, we could handle it just as we are now. And that would keep the base rate at his recommended charge.
My expectations of you is to make sure that water is potable and drinkable for our citizens.
And then we're
So-
compliant with the state.
And in compliance with the state. As we make improvements to that tank from the aeration that we've got in it, proceeding with, not the mixer. We got the mixer in place, but I need to continue to work on getting those TTHMs down. I need to be working on another storage facility or a higher one to increase pressure, but yet, so we don't have that fire problem and use 350,000 gallons in a 500,000 gallon tank. So there's gonna be some vision and planning that I would expect you to be a part of in designing that system. I can see in the next 4 years, 5 years, putting in another filter in that system. And then that's gonna be something I need your advice and direction as both of you work together to accomplish that goal. I see that in place. I see water lines needing to be replaced so we can build more pressure. Because we don't have fire, we have very few fire hydrants in place that can handle the need that we have. So then there we are with our drinking water, moving those little hydrants and getting rid of the dead ends. But yes, Dagan has been a tremendous resource for this board over the years, but I need to get him some relief so all that reliability don't handle on his shoulders. Dagan. Yes.
So as far as pressure zones and tank concerns, he's, I believe, applying to be the ORC of the water treatment. Once it leaves that water treatment, it goes to me, as I'm the distribution operator. I'm the ORC of that.
Okay.
And I'm hoping within the next year, we get a couple more guys licensed in that. But yeah, that, unless we wanted to take the ORC as the distribution. But I don't see a need for that at this time.
Okay. What about, there's some other stuff on the table of this.
So I
concerning me.
was not aware about needing to be insured until just a few days ago.
Yeah, and that's coming from, as a contractor and you're on your 1099, workman's comp coverage while you're on site or exposure to chemicals or whatever. I'm trying to figure out the liability where that would fall and whose responsibility. I don't know whether.
I'm trying to receive a quote still. I've been speaking with an agent from Farmers Insurance, and it's sort of hard to describe my job to people that don't know.
Or even understand what you
Yeah,
do.
so right now, everybody's turning me down for insurance. I just need to find the right person that understands, I think.
You know, one of the questions I had, David, is if Chris Kramer's got any insurance, what did he use? The town's been paying him on a 1099 for all these years, have we not? Yes.
So I was digging into that a little bit, and Chris, if he has employees, that's when you're mandated to carry the workman's compensation policy. As far as any additional coverage, he's never offered that.
Okay, so has he had his own, that you just put in the records that if any incident, he accepts that responsibility and waives that liability of the town? Is that what Chris did? I don't know if Chris ever did that. I know what you're saying. If you're self-employed, you typically do not have workman's comp until you have employees.
Yes,
Then you gotta protect your employees.
yes.
So if he is a self-employed contractor, then I have that same question. I just need to know how to protect the town as far as if he's like that. The exposure we had to the gas with our employees, we had coverage for them. What happens if that happens to Mr. Dave here? Where does he get assistance? Is that his responsibility? Does he just sign a waiver? That he would accept that responsibility? I need to check in, or have you check into that, or whatever I need to do there. Sometimes the workman's comp insurance is insane when they have doubt of how to cover you. Then they'll do it, except for up here instead of down here, and that costs you more money, that costs the town more money. Because you're gonna have to figure that into your monthly base.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if there's a way to sign a waiver with the attorney's approval whatsoever, since he doesn't have any employees, as long as the town's protected in that incident, I'm okay with recommendation to the board members, but that's what brought up the whole workman's comp thing and the general liability if you're injured. But if there's a way to do that, since you're the only employee, I'm sure I'm okay with that. So we'll need to check into that. After reviewing the plant, are you still interested in the position?
Yes.
Okay. Going forward, it seems like you put in a request for proposal with conditions so we understand what the cost you're gonna have. It seemed, were you 400 a month plus $40 an hour for services?
Mhm.
And I would like to get you on board just as soon as possible, but every time I turn around, I'm calling for a special meeting and the board members really, two times a month is plenty, but I'd like to have you on board before the 1st of August. What questions need answered before we do that? Board members,
Definitely the insurance.
need to figure out the insurance before we put you on board.
And after viewing the water plant, you don't feel like you need to come out once a month or twice a month or anything?
Yeah.
I was looking over your CCRs from last year, and seems the way Chris was doing it, you guys only had one small violation, and it seems like they're doing pretty good on the day-to-day side of things, so moving forward, I don't foresee me having to come a bunch of times.
I would expect you to be here more than, I guess my expectation would be a minimum of one time a month, or maybe even 2 times a month, but having an absence, I like your eyes on it. So my expectation would at least be 1 time a month, if not 2 times a month. Just to come out and go over it and make recommendations. We have one, let's see, our regular board meeting is the 3rd week. So if there's any recommendation that you need to bring through Dagan, or I would just like at least 1 time a month for you to review that treatment plant to make sure you're okay with the compliance on the state.
I'm fine
since
with
it's
it.
your license on the line here.
That sounds totally reasonable.
You guys?
I agree.
Is that under the condition that drive time is included in the hourly, or is that part of my monthly requirements?
I think, you always, every time you try to come out here, it seems like several things get involved. Maybe instead of an hourly time clock, I'm just throwing it on the table, a flat drive time fee. Instead of putting it on the clock, every time you come out, that service call is gonna be $50 to get it here, drive time. $50 or 40, whatever the board decides. But maybe it should be a flat fee and not based on the clock. And then go ahead and be on the clock while you're here. If you spend 3 days up here with Dagan trying to, when that thing goes array like that, and you're back and forth, you know, I would expect the board to go ahead and pay you on an hourly wage for the 3 days you're here. Do your time clock thing or bill us with an invoice. Documentation, accountability is always a question. I don't have a problem with him just starting on the clock. I'm just trying to control, you know, if he goes there and he wants to stop by the grocery store and get some groceries, you'd have to keep track of that time or just have a flat call out. Megan, you got our board members, what do you think?
Would it be unreasonable if he went up to 500 a month with that
Extra.
one day included in the 500 a month? He would do all the reporting, the chatting with Dagan and keeping everything updated, and then the one time a month, and then if he does have to come out, like you said, he would be on the clock. Because if he does come out, I'm assuming it'll be at least a 3-hour trip.
2-hour drive plus whatever time I'm here.
You're 2 hours from me.
1 hour.
Oh, one hour from, that's what I was thinking. 1 hour to and 1 hour back.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So at $50 a flat fee, that's what you got for 100 plus the 400 be 500 if you made one trip. If it makes more than one trip, then you're thinking go on the clock. Mill that around till you find out about insurance.
What's that?
Mill that around in your head if that'll work while we
I think that
decide on
sounds
insurance.
reasonable off the top of my head, but yeah. Consider it.
Now, let me, I'm gonna throw this out. Yes, there needs to be an agreement of minds on how you're to be paid. But this board is not so rigid that we can't adjust that accordingly based on what we have to start somewhere. I don't think the board is that rigid, but we just need to throw something on the table to get it started. I don't know how to proceed here as far as getting you on board by August 1st.
Do motion pending insurance.
Our next meeting is August 1st, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, maybe what we'll do is let's call a meeting the first Wednesday of August, which is our normal meeting time,
Thursday.
which is a Thursday. Let's fine tune this thing. I imagine the attorney's gonna want something in paper, so I can't just hire him tonight without a piece of paper. Can't do anything without a piece of paper. I'll have him write it up and then we will be in communication between now and then, David, but talking back and forth, you and David. You two talk, and then you can bring it to my attention and I'll put it in paper and present it to the board and see if we can. What is the first Thursday in August?
August 1st.
Pardon me?
August 1st.
Right on the dot, huh? Okay. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we might have time to have a contract. I mean, they could have a contract.
Yeah, I can make that happen. Yeah, he'll get it done.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I don't know if it'd make a difference. I did form a LLC for myself. It's a Full Circle Water Solutions LLC.
You're thinking about doing that?
No, I have.
You have already?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what the agreement will be between, is the town of Dove Creek and that entity.
Okay.
I like that. I'm okay with that. You guys okay? Oh, you okay?
Yes.
Okay, at this point, then we'll move forward with that.
So does your LLC require insurance?
Not that I know. I'm new to this.
Okay.
As long as you're self-employed,
So are we.
I don't think you're gonna need workman's comp. Typically, you'll need property, general, that kind of stuff, but I don't think workman's comp if you're a self-employed individual. Yes, Dave?
Just to remind everybody, and it's funny, the name. So Chris Kramer, his contracted business is Water Solutions LLC. So yep, so he's an LLC also, so it'd be the same thing as we got going now.
I do like the fact that we're upgrading our treatment plant. He would definitely need to have access to that information on his phone. So when he sees that thing going array, then he can call you guys on your emergency phone and then if he feels necessary, listen, this thing is way off skewed. We can get him up here and respond quicker. It's usually, we can miss a problem and it's 24 hours before we recognize a problem exists. With this new software, you'll be able to see it right on time as it's happening.
Should call you for it.
Yeah, and he's trying to get that. We had a call system in place years ago. It was disbanded and we're trying to get that put back in place so that when the error happens, it'll call the phone or buzz you or whatever. Hey, we got a problem here. Too much chlorine is being ingested in the water. But it is definitely I like to consider that a chemistry project up there. And that's about what you're doing is mixing chemicals to get the proper water quality. I don't have any more questions for David at this time. Megan? No?
So to go along with the calls that you'll receive if something goes away from standards, the plant will shut down. If it's out of compliance with the regulatory standards from CDPHE, it'll just shut down and say, hey, got a problem. So it's gonna give us a lot more water quality protection.
Well, that's been one of our goals. Okay, thank you for your time. Glad you came up. It was important to have somebody at least an hour from us. We've been looking for somebody for what, Vegas, 5-6 years now. So I feel fortunate that you're in the area and willing to work for us over here.
I appreciate the opportunity.
But we'll fine tune this thing. We'll be in touch and see if we can't get something in place at our next board meeting.
Nice to meet everybody. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
David, before you go, this is Kevin Hall, Sally Knuckles,
Nice to meet you.
Cliff Springmar is our newest member. He took that seat last week.
Okay.
And then you and I have talked, and then Lorraine is our, what are we gonna call you? Can we call you the godmother, or is that the bad word?
I don't know about that.
Anyway, thank you for coming again. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn the floor over to, thank you, board, for helping me with that. Ty Gray, you're gonna give us an elementary school update. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thanks guys for your time. I'll try to be fairly quick and it's all new faces.
Yeah, yeah.
So, just give a real quick update on the elementary school. The building itself is basically completely done. We had all our inspections this week, fire, and then the state building inspector was in there yesterday. There's 3 little things that they gotta take care of, send pictures. They've already signed off, pending the pictures they get, that those 3 things were done. So that's exciting. It's a very nice building. Our community's gonna have one of the best elementaries in the state, probably the best elementary in the state. It's a very nice building. The contractors have done very well with it. Before we can really occupy the building, we are gonna move furniture in next week and start moving our stuff in, but we can't occupy it until probably, I think it's July 31st, after the building inspector comes back and gives us the full TCO on the outside, because we still have a little bit of concrete to do. So we're right on schedule for school starting as it's supposed to. But really why I'm here is, well, to give you that, and then the next step's gonna be, it's gonna be chaotic to start this fall. So I'll hand you this, get the line here. It's fairly rough sketch here, but kind of what I'm thinking, depending what you guys say, think. Other thoughts on it? The sheriff on the county. I didn't know the sheriff of the county was coming for this too.
Were you worried about the construction zone ties? Or what you worried about?
So basically you can see the new elementary's going in there. Then the construction zone, that's phase 2. So our buses are gonna be fine. We're gonna have bus drop off. That's gonna be like it will be permanently. The place where I'm worried is kids getting from the secondary school to the elementary school that walk. Because the construction zone, the fence goes right out to the very edge of the road. So basically, I mean, to get kids past the construction zone, they're gonna have to walk down the, whatever the northbound lane on Main Street. So what I'm kind of proposing, you can see right along the yellow, there's a little dotted green line to, just for the times AM, I have on the bottom bus schedule, which is AM 7:15 to 8:15 and PM 3:15 to 4:30. And that will adjust as we see what really happens here, is to cone off right along the fence line and create a small walkway there. And then for the parent drop-off time, those times listed there, see if we can't do something similar to what we have the one-way traffic through there, where we close the southbound lane of Main Street at 7th Street, going to 8th Street, and then basically close the road from 8th to 9th Street just during those times. So basically that'll move our northbound traffic over and get them away from the walking students a little bit. And it'll give us a place to drop off the kids in the drop-off zone there. And then I have them turning at 8th Street. And that's just simply because once we get parents lined up there, if they go all the way down to 9th Street, our buses aren't ever going to get off that stop sign past 9th Street. You know, so, and then I have the lane closed down on the bottom 8th Street, but I mean, either way, it's just a sign saying lane closed ahead. However, so just to try to get the flow of the parents to stay in that area to try to protect the kids the best we can during this time, and to keep our buses and the parents away from each other. So, and then you can see kind of where the student crosswalk is. That's the other thing. We'll have to get the kids to that point. So they will be crossing 7th Street and 8th Street if they're coming from this side of town, which none of it's ideal. I've ordered a whole bunch of cones. I've ordered a whole bunch of signs and warning stuff just to at least alert people that we got kids running around.
Wait a minute, Ty. If I'm understanding you right, you're gonna do one-way traffic, you're gonna have the parents who's dropping the kids off, they're not riding the bus. You're gonna have these parents come right down through here in that drop-off zone. You're gonna have them wait until they get to the drop-off zone, because this will be fenced, and you'll probably have it open here.
The fence will be here. This will be cones where all the kids are walking, because we've got a bunch of kids that walk from this side to this side.
Okay.
The kids will be walking here, and we're gonna wait just because we don't want kids jumping out of cars until they get to this drop-off.
To this drop-off zone, so you're gonna instruct the parents to not let the kids out of the car until you get to the drop-off.
That's gonna be the idea, yes,
Okay, for the ones that want to abide.
yes.
Okay, now,
And then they would turn and go down 8th Street to keep this area clear as well.
okay, now is this, are you gonna have a fence there like you have right now? Or are you gonna eliminate that fence?
The fence that is there will stay there, but that's the construction zone, so we can't be on the other side of the fence. So in between that fence, just come out like 3 feet or something. I would
I
like to put
see.
some cones.
Outside that fence, so I'm encroaching even more onto the highway.
Yes, more into the road. That's why I'm moving the traffic over for these times. And then it has everybody going the same direction, because that's one of the concerns is whenever you got kids, traffic going both directions, and kids are hopping out of the car on both sides. Now you got kids going all over the place. So
What is your time frame on making all that happen? For instance, what I'm worried about is an alternative plan for when we need to push snow through there. The cones are gonna be covered. What kind of arrangements are you making when the snow hit? Is this gonna be a January thing or is this
So-
December?
Phase 2 is supposed to be complete in November.
Oh, okay.
So this is to start the school year. I'm still hopeful that sooner than November, the fence gets pushed back a little ways, but I'm not making any promises there. Because, I mean, the contractor won't say that they will let us have a little bit of that area. There will be a time, a small time, a 2 or 3 week window, just like they did with 9th Street, where they're going to take up half the street and it will be just a one-way road for a couple weeks there, I think, whenever they tear up the chip seal and then put the asphalt down. Whether, I don't know, how long was 9th Street? Was it a couple weeks?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It wasn't bad.
So I think it'll be about that same time frame where they just go ahead and rip the chip seal up, they remove their fence out at that point. So it will be one, so that'll be a little different, but this is for the beginning of the year. And hopefully we're done with this before much snow starts falling. If we do get those freak storms, that's between, I mean, Vern and his crew will be, I'm gonna put some of his crew in charge of setting up these lane closure signs and the cones. I've been back and forth on, can they stay out or do we need to at least walk down the road and throw them over against the fence throughout the day? Because I mean, we do still have people walking back and forth all day long. You know, but at that point, there's one car every now and then, so I don't see where it couldn't be two-way traffic just open like normal and still have a little walkway there. You know, so.
Sheriff Wilson, your thoughts?
I think it's a good plan, but there's 2 problems. So what about lunchtime for high school kids and the middle school kids? Are they gonna eat at the high school, middle school, or are you guys gonna walk them up during lunch?
Lunch is gonna stay like it changed to during COVID. It's much easier to keep everybody in the high school commons area and just bring the lunch to them.
And then the preschool playground, is that across over the soccer field, or is it gonna be somewhere else?
The preschool playground will be complete when we take the building. It is on the south end of the building. There's a small piece of equipment in there right now. And in the next 3 weeks, we will have a fence up, our 4-foot fence, we'll have, that playground will be complete. So preschool and kindergarten's hooked to it, they can use it as well. But yeah, I guess you can see it there, that little brown spot there, just outside the
what
loop,
that is?
that's the preschool playground.
Okay, and then it says staff parking to the north of 9th Street. Where is the parking at?
So with the staff parking there, it's gonna be a lot like the construction crew is now, probably down the shoulder of the PE field.
Okay.
Or the
Is
middle
that gonna be a
school.
problem for you guys, Dagan?
So,
Just curious.
you know, it seemed to work during last winter because, you know, the main reason of not parking on the shoulder is that it's an older little area. Neenan, we would usually be coming through early enough and then Neenan would go clear out areas for them to park and get their cars. Are they still plan on, do you know if they would still do that?
Well, either way,
We'll do
Vern,
it.
I mean, our crew,
Yes.
being that it'd be our parking, he will have to have wherever that ends up, I'm sure some will be along the shoulder there. Needham's moving their trailer from where it currently is to the cement pad on the south end of the old elementary school. So we're gonna have that little area there to park a few cars. So we will work with the snow and we will make sure and help with the snow however we can with all that. Between Vern and Neenan getting the snow cleared out where our vehicles, where our staff will have to park if we get that pretty big snowstorm.
And, you know, on Main Street is a much better option to push them down there because where it got iffy was up on College. And that's where it got real narrow. If you have emergency services needing to come through, it could have got conflicted there, but it's, there's plenty of room over there. If you're willing to shove that snow off onto the field, make room, I think that would work.
Now, what about the backside on the east side of the elementary school? Are you gonna put up a retaining wall so that when they push snow, is it gonna go falling down into the window? I'm just asking.
It should not,
concerns me.
it should not go falling down in the window. There will be some landscape, and there will be some cobble and stuff there, some river rock and some stuff on that backside. There was, and I'm not positive at this point, there was some large sandstone boulders that were gonna go along that side too, kind of as, or the bollards or whatever to kind of protect a little bit.
Because I don't want our school to get hurt, but we have a lot of people who like to hot rod up and down the roads when it's slippery. So if they fall off that little incline into your school,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And you know that corner is notorious for that same garbage going off into the part where they don't need to be.
yeah.
So that's a concern during winter, but if you say that during winter, it should be pretty much done. To where, is that part gonna be done to where the teachers can park somewhere else, or are they gonna be parking up there for what?
Well, that is just through phase 2 here, when this, which is through November or into November.
Okay.
So after, I mean, by December, all the main parking lot should be complete, the playgrounds, and everything else on this. The other part outside of the parent drop off is, if there's a possibility, our recess is gonna have to be across 9th Street, across Main Street, over on that grass field. We've put a temporary fence up.
Right.
If there's any way that we could possibly close Main Street down that direction for recess time. You know, and a staff member would pull the barricade across during recess time, just Main Street. We'd have somebody watch 9th Street and get the kids over across the road into that area. And then if we could, if not, that's not that big a deal. We just have somebody cross there, but the bathroom's gonna be in the old Bradfield house. So kids are gonna be going back and forth across Main Street into the Bradfield house to use bathrooms. So I'm not saying like all day, it's just first teacher out there, they would throw something up across Main Street. We'd get our kids across in there, and then they could go back and forth across Main Street to the bathroom, basically, is all.
How many hours of it in a day would that be close?
Shoot. It would mainly be around lunchtime. The last Charlotte and I talked was even the morning mile club and recess, just doing that in the gym until the playground's done. So I think it's like an hour around lunchtime, 11:15 to 12, probably more like 45 minutes. And then I think there's one time in the afternoon, or a couple 30-minute times in the afternoon.
If that Main Street was closed, Sheriff, would it help the speeders going around that thing?
If it was closed with 8th Street, is that what you're talking about, or 9th Street?
It would be up at 9th Street for recess.
You're talking about from 9th all the way around the loop around where all the old teachers are.
Yeah, just that
9th
part.
Street would be open.
Yeah,
They're just gonna, they wanna close that so they can cross over. What, you say you wanna close 9th Street, or you?
no. I mean, no, just, I didn't want to ask for 9th Street. We will just have
Okay.
somebody there to, like, a crossing
To get 'em
guard, get
across.
the kids across. Just Main Street there, because I just see there's gonna be a lot from that
So
playground
that would
over
be
to the
the loop
bathroom.
around the teachers is what you're talking.
Yeah,
David? Comments?
So, again, you know, we all can't wait for the future. So really what they're wanting to do up there next to the construction zone is pretty similar to what they've been going throughout the last few years at the elementary when it comes to drop off and pickup.
yes.
So a couple extra months, I don't see an issue there. The signage would be important to notify you know, the narrow roads or when it's closed, that way if there was an accident, could, you know, the liability would fall back because of representing of the condition of the road.
I think we have VMS boards, like Cliff knows about the VMS boards. We have to do VMS boards, and we can say Main Street closed at blah, blah, blah. And you can say what time they're gonna be closed. And that way, because getting the message out to the people that don't pay attention to what we're doing, I think it would say, okay, get ready, because these are gonna be closed at this time.
I like that.
And I mean, this is, like I said, it's not a whole lot different, it's moved. It's as soon as we do it, I mean, first day of school is gonna be, I can't say I'm gonna do exactly this first day of school, because almost every parent that can is gonna wanna drop their kids off and walk into that school. So the first day of school is gonna be it's gonna be a mess. A zoo. I don't think we close any streets or anything. I don't know how to do it exactly. I haven't got that exactly because we've got to have the walkway. It's gonna be a lot of people out there directing traffic, you know, and keeping people slow at that point, because I think it's gonna be lined up every street to walk their kid in. Then after that, we're go to this plan. And then once we do it a day or two, everybody's gonna know what we're doing. You know, and I don't think it's gonna need much else. I've ordered a bunch of signs and stuff, and I can order more for this. I mean, this point, how many signs and how much money I spend to make sure the kids aren't getting in a mess is no big deal at this point. I mean, we need to make sure that everything's taken care of.
Kevin?
I'm good. I think what he's doing is wonderful.
Solid.
I agree, I like the plan.
Cliff, you see any problems with it?
As long as there is some sort of signage though, because that helps the town out, that helps school out. Whether it be a temporary VMS board or just some sort of signage.
And I have, like I said, I mean, I've already ordered some signs. I will get on there. I mean, we'll get it. We'll see what we got. See if the things I got to try to, I mean, I try not to go too expensive right now, but then if I got to go back and get the barricades that go completely across, we will do that. If cones don't work and I have merge here and different signs coming.
For the record, it'd be nice if we put a motion on the floor that, giving it, whether it's a resolution or just a motion, that we agree with what he's trying to do. Dave, any other final comment?
Would you be willing to give us a little bit of time? I'm not here as familiar with as far as sign standards, but Cliff and Paul know a lot more than I do, and where they need to be placed, and then maybe the signs that would be accepted legally, and then we could get with you, or have you already bought the signs?
I mean, I bought some, I mean, they're temporary things. I bought some temporary signage that will go up just with some custom drop off here, merge left here, one-way traffic ahead, you know, that can be set out quickly. It's the ones that go on a cone or something.
Okay.
You know.
Public safety is very important, so I don't mind recommending to the board to move forward with it, with the idea of public safety and proper signage, and you guys can work out those details. I don't think the board needs to.
And we'll work with you too, Ty, until it gets to be smoother for you. We'll stick some guys up there and say, hey, this is the way it is, and you're gonna have to adjust.
And it'll take a time or two. I mean, there's gonna be one or two, well, when we first did it a few years back, there was one or two that tried to push their way through. After that, it was smooth as could be. And then if it is a freak snowstorm, something like that, I mean, working together, I mean, the best we can to make this happen.
Okay, I could make a motion to approve the plan at the school as presented with the conditions that public safety is number one, and look at the signage.
I second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you for your time.
Okay. So,
Appreciate it.
thank you guys for all this. I mean, this project has been fun. It's been long. I am gonna throw one other thing out there. The town has been a little bit difficult to work with. It's been a fight a lot more than just wanting to work together, it seems like. Some professionalism hasn't been the best from everybody. This isn't a blanket statement for everybody, but professionalism's been lacking for sure. And I mean, between the county, the school, the town, we're the three biggest entities in the area. And I mean, we need to be able to work together and do things with each other and try to help out. And there's just some things, I don't know if the board knows how things are happening out there or not, but I just have to throw that out there. I'm a little concerned with some of the professionalism. I don't want to work with, as the school, with some of your people anymore. I mean, it's to that point that it's not a working relationship. So I know Vern's had some run-ins, just try and get some information, and you don't get information. You just get hammered and blown up basically. So I don't know if you have anything to add, Vern, with it, or if you guys have any question on that. Don't want to. Yes. I see your hand raised on the teacher.
Well, that's concerning when a statement like that is made, and I would like a little more information what it concerns. Because if it concerns something the way we're governing and it's written in black and white, or is it a personnel issue, or?
I will back, and like I said before, I will back as much as you guys want to push whatever your ordinances and your new rules, because that was the last time I was here. You're saying you're really trying. I am a rule follower, guys. I will do anything I can to follow the rules and work with you guys any way I can. But everything just seems like a fight instead of like, how do we put in this culvert? And we get nowhere with it. You know, it's like, yeah, you figure it out. I don't know if I'm supposed to call on you or not.
Again, that is something that we require from everybody if they want to put in a culvert or an access.
And so, Dagan, let's say this, I'm not concerned about the ordinance. It's the way it was handled, so personnel.
Okay. We'll take all that under advisement. Thank you for that. And we'll go from there. Next one on the agenda, pick and hoe update, recap. Turn it over to the floor. I guess we'll start with Christy Dagan, board members. How'd we do? Christy? We got Teresa here, so you guys can talk.
You were walking up, go ahead.
Nope, I'm not walking up. I'm gonna sit right here.
Just gonna let you go.
How can we improve things? How can we make it a better event for the public, that kind of stuff?
Okay, on my end of things, so there's things that, you know, the town deals with that I don't, but, Teresa and I had all the contracts, she had all of her insurance in place. There was some damages and some losses that I did invoice her for, but keys were returned. She did everything the board allowed her to do, I should say. There was some things like that, you know, not just pigs, there was a camper there. Our contract states multi-day use is limited to 3 days, but again, that was what the board allowed. not. So that, I guess, maybe more my concern is not with Teresa, but what the board allowed against our own rules and policies and ordinances and contracts. But as far as Teresa and I, we wrapped everything up. We met, we talked, she was given an invoice today with even receipts and cost information. We haven't really had a time to chat since I gave her that, looks like. But as far as cleanup, all that was done on time. Few little minor things, I picked up some white zip ties, but it wasn't nothing crazy.
It was reminded with the last board meeting that one of the community's residents was upset that the event went 4 days.
It was longer than 4 days.
Yeah, it went beyond the typical weekend, and they would like it to see it held to a 3-day event, but it. You'll
And I know I
always have-
wasn't at that meeting, but typically what the board has done in the past, the way our parks contract is, it is limited to a 3-day contract, like with Cal Marie, 1 year they approved a 3-day and then a 1-day other contract to accommodate those extra days that she wanted. But again, like I said, that wasn't discussed or anything at that meeting, and I apologize I wasn't there. It was crazy then, my son was playing in the state baseball tournament, and I wouldn't have missed that for the world, so.
Okay, Sheriff Wilson, did you see anything we need to improve on next year?
Well, the complaint that I had was someone came to us over serving alcohol. We had an incident where somebody got served too much and he went to another business and caused some issues in another business. And I know that's not your fault. However, the person that did that was also possibly drinking alcohol outside of the pick and hold place as well. So I'm not saying it was the firefighters over serving. I would just say that I think we need to have to say, okay, you can have a beer, but now you're done. Because I think the firefighters are smart enough to see when a guy shouldn't be drinking. And I think most of them do that. So it might be a case of bringing the alcohol in from an outside source. And I bet you there was a whole bunch more. I wasn't there. That's just the information I got from my deputies. And there was only 2 incidents that they had to take care of. And the incidents, pretty much the firefighters took care of them before they got there. Because they know that is that 1 year that they can get the funds that they need to operate some of the things that they do for our community. But other than that, we had no other complaints except that.
So the contract and ordinances do state they are not supposed to bring outside alcohol in. Again, it's an enforcement thing, who's up there. We all know what happens, but the rule does state that they are not supposed to bring outside liquor of any kind into that event. If you are going to drink, you are supposed to purchase from the event.
One of the concerns that brought to our attention, since you're the fire marshals, a recommendation that a fire truck be on site in case that fire blows across the road and starts burning houses. I don't know if the fire department's ever done that. I don't remember.
We don't have the fire.
Not that I know.
No,
They're
it was
talking
the
about
fire.
the pit.
the pit.
Fire pit.
They did 2 years.
Yeah, when
Did they, I don't know.
when the fire was up, they were afraid the wind was gonna catch it and catch the house on fire. And we've never done that I know of in 40, 50 years, but we're getting new people moving in all the time, and if you get high winds, but. I don't know
I
if
can
that
have
should-
that conversation with Jake. Because I don't think he'd have a problem having a couple of those guys up there during that time. I don't think he'd have a problem at all. If next year it's the same thing, another pit barbecue, I bet you would not have a problem with that at all.
And
And
I
I
know-
bet you the firefighters themselves would be more than happy to go up
The
there.
firefighters are there all the time with the beer tent already. They just need a truck sitting there.
Correct.
It's not that big of a deal.
So I think I'll have that conversation with Jake.
While the fire's going, there's a person there though. There, at
Always.
least.
Always.
two.
Always
You got-
minus, like I say, if 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when it's just pretty much coals burning, you know, or very little. But I think I had somebody there from 6, 7 o'clock in the morning till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning every day.
and there's water
When
right
the,
there.
when the fire was going.
Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna please everybody, but it's, if one of the small trucks might be there, it might put, the people at ease if they saw one of their small water trucks there or something, but, I'll have that conversation with Jake. I don't think he'd have a problem. Okay, Teresa, on your side of the fence, any improvements that need to be made or things we can make the event?
Well,
Better.
the honeymoon phase is definitely over. So I have a check. Do I present that to you or to the town for the repairs?
You can give it to me, I'll work that. Yep.
What check number, sorry.
1011.
Thank you. I have a few things to hand out here, real quick, kind of just expenses. I had some questions about money and where the money was going and different things and why things were doing the way that we were doing them. So, and, I don't know if you guys can share. Again, Christy and I kind of went over everything. For the most part, I think it was smooth between us. You know, that was good. I will say my piece in regards to the invoice. I'm not, wrote the check for the amount that was invoiced to Pick and Hoe. I would like to do a 100% thorough walkthrough this year. We did not get to do a walkthrough prior to the event. I want to do a 100% thorough walkthrough next year. Turn the sprinklers on, make sure they're all working. If there's a head missing from the mower, if there's gravel in the sprinklers, because that was something I saw. If that's taking place, I would like to know that. Count chairs, tables, you know, doors, things like that. The door, unfortunately, was one of the things that got damaged. Talked to Christy, talked to Paul, I believe. I set a rock there so that we wouldn't have to worry about really it shutting. Learned my lesson on that, probably won't do that again. Because I believe that what happened is somebody tried to push the door, kick the door closed, whatever it was, with that rock in there. So that unfortunately bent the frame, broke the frame, whatever it was. So that's one of the costs that Pick and Hoe is paying for. Other thing I had, you know, just I learned some lessons this year. And next year I would really like to do 100% walkthrough, count everything, check everything, pictures, you know, all this stuff. You know, the sprinklers we talked about. Other than that, like I said, Christy and I feel like worked together well. After it was just Christy and I. So let's see, what else do they have to discuss? I will be having a meeting next week with all the chairmen, all the people that volunteered their time to chair an event and, you know, discuss more of what we're doing right now, how we can make things better, how I can improve on different things. Like I said, for me, there was quite a few little lessons learned that, you know, unfortunately that just takes, you know, making that mistake to learn that lesson. I do want to say I'm speaking with Chris Lopez with Chaffa in regards to a 40-foot container. I would like, and you can chime in on this, I know we talked about it, but I haven't talked to Chris yet. I would like the town's approval to put it on or somewhere at the park. As of right now, Chris is kind of waiting for this meeting to hear from me. We've talked about it. He's going to present it. He thinks, you know, there's a few things he's worried about. One is location of the container. Which again, I would like to be able to get the town's approval to place that container kind of where your other sheds are, that rock is, the tree, kind of somewhere in that general direction. Is where I would like to place it, which is, you know, kind of off the beaten path of the park up there, if you guys know where the sheds are.
Purpose of the container?
Purpose of the container is to put everything that Pick and Hoe has and owns in that container with one lock and key, and try to keep everything airtight, sealed, and get it out of the cook shack. And then again, you and I have talked a little bit about this, but we didn't get a chance to talk more about this, but the other thing I would like, and again, this is kind of town and rec approval here, is I think it would be great if the town could use that to rent out, you know, just like another building for the community center. I don't know how you feel about that, Dagan, or how the town feels, but if I get all of my things out of there, so if I get all of Pick and Hoe's stuff out of there, because I'm trying to do that, that's what the container is for, is to put all of Pick and Hoe's stuff in one spot with no one else's things, with nobody else's real access. Not that anything's bad about that, just trying to get it all in one area.
Here's my first thought. The board, we've got a lot of new members, of course, and I'm gonna be bringing out the master plan. I've had some people talking to me and they've been talking to Kristen, but I need to pull out the master vision of what that Weber Park is supposed to look like. As we look at that, I kind of like the idea of the container as far as containing it, location. I don't know if it'd be a problem. We need to talk about location. I'm wondering if it could go over by if there's not more room over at the maintenance shed to put that in, and if you could move back and forth, but we could talk about location. But as we revisit this vision and co-align ourselves with.
So if that's on our property, are we liable for it?
I'm
And
sure
what
we are.
happens next time when the next group says, hey, can we store a container up there? Do they get to because we allowed these guys to?
I think that's why the mayor's kind of saying if we put it over there at the old maintenance place, it'd be better.
Oh, the old town
Yeah,
hall?
at the old town hall, and
Okay.
then maybe in the back there, so we can, what's happened in the past, back when, well, my wife and I's family doing it for several years, seems like the Pick and Hoe buy stuff, and then it just disappears and ends up in somebody else's basement. And then we never get to bring it back, it's just forgotten.
And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I
And
want
that- and I'm
everything
sure
under
that's
one
what you're
roof,
trying to avoid.
one lock and key, and everybody knows where all of Pick and Hoe stuff is, no question asked.
Because we've already got some talk already on that little building we put on there already, so I think we could put it over there by the old the maintenance shed where the guys work, and they can keep an eye on it, and your guys would be stuff would be perfectly safe over there, behind the gate, lock gate and everything. It's all-
But, okay, how do I mean, but then it's something where I have to get a key from you to even get access to it. I want to be able to have access to it.
And she should have a key during the.
She could, we wouldn't want to use the container, but
But I'm saying to get in there though,
after hours to the yard, we would just.
Maybe for the month of June and July, she would have a key to the gate.
Otherwise, go ahead and work on individual case, but I just think as far as the direction and vision we're going with Weber Park, I need the board to understand that vision. The community put a lot of effort into that, and we spent a lot of money in that. And I'm sure these guys haven't even seen that plan. But I'd like to bring that back to the table pretty quickly. Probably in one of our orientation workshops that we're working on, so we can break them open. But I like the idea. Are you thinking a 40-foot or a 20-foot? What do you?
40 foot, because I have a stage that's sitting in my backyard that I would like to have out of the weather, because I need to replace the plywood, and I'm not gonna replace the plywood until I can get it out of the weather. So
Dave,
was
if
it
you think
stored
about
before?
that, where you
Here,
might
I'll
place that.
I got it last year for the stuff this past year, and then nobody wanted the stage this year, and so I didn't end up having to use the stage, but right now it's stored in my backyard, and I would like to have that not in my possession and actually with Pick and Hoe. So that's why
I'd
the
rather-
40 foot versus the 20 foot.
I'd rather see something like that than I would as we're trying to continue our beautification of Weber Park. I would rather see something like that if we can work out that.
I like that.
So exactly, I guess the other thing that Chris brought up, and this really isn't your concern in regards to money and donations. The other thing they had a concern about was advertising for them. And where would you be putting that on your place over there? Is that something that, like, I can say, hey, it's gonna be sitting right here, everybody can drive by and read that it's property of Pick and Hoe, donated by Chapel?
Well, I'll tell you what my.
Because that was something when I was speaking, that was something when I was speaking with them, hey, I can put a banner or a, painting on the side stating, donated to Pick and Hoe by Chaffa 2024, or whatever it is, but that's a
I wouldn't
concern.
mind as a compromise, Dave, you might look at it, but on the west side, on the north side fence, we're not using that right. You got gravel, you gotta get access to that, but if it's against that fence up there, then they could put something on the west side of that container as far as getting their 10 cents in. You might look at that and see.
Okay, I don't have a problem with the container being painted or a banner.
And Chris Lopez and Shasta does a lot.
They-
You may
they
know,
do.
they gave us $20,000 for that playground equipment last year, so it's very.
No, he's been great. You're right. He's been great to work with. Like I said, he said when he presented it, they were kind of, and a couple of their concerns was advertising and, the location. That was two big concerns, because I mean, you're donating a 40-foot container that
They're
can be
not
portable, and so that was their biggest concern is where it was gonna stay and who would have access to it and the advertising.
I think that could be a fairly permanent location. You might do a drive-by, Teresa. and
I
that
see
would
where you're
work.
talking, right there where the fence is on the west side,
West, north.
west side, yeah, where the fence is right there. I mean, that would be a good location for me if it would be a good location for the town. It's not exactly ideal compared to up there, but I mean, I can get a trailer and haul what I need. It's just, not as ideal, but that's okay too. So, because it would be better to have, it's also better to have that in the container rather than having, you have to pull everything out about 3 or 4 different times to clean it up and reorganize. And so, I mean, even doing little stuff like that, it's easier, so.
By the time we get our recreation center in place, if we follow through with that, we develop the backside of the softball field, I'm concerned about room. Right now, it appears we have room, but if that plan goes through, and we continue that, there's not much room for that container up there. And then it would be moving it again.
And also too, just so the board knows, even, I know that new building is a big dream, but we're still working on, all the area around that building. That's still something we can work on, and we are doing now. The baseball field, all that stuff is part of that master plan. So maybe we don't have that new rec center yet, but I still am looking forward to developing that backside, putting in that pump track for the kids to ride their bikes on off the streets and different things, walking past. Those are all things we can still do and work on. And I look forward to updating you guys on the master plan. And
I'd like to do that, Christine. The board's got a lot
that's
on their plate.
important.
But
I like that idea. Thank you, Brett.
anything else, Teresa?
I don't believe so. I guess, you can look at this event financial summary. Pick and Hoe didn't do too bad. We did better than last year. It's, that's a lot of moving parts to the Pick and Hoe that I don't think people realize, and maybe people will understand a little more in regards to exactly what it is, what it takes to do, what it takes to put on. I didn't put how many volunteers it takes to do, but as you look at the money and as you look at the expenses and credits and whatever it is that you want to look at, honestly, one of my goals for the future of Pick and Hoe is I would like every 3 to 5 years to have a concert like Monticello puts on with like a name like Chris Cagle or Easton Corbin or, some name like that. And I would love to have at some point, be able to have Pick and Hoe have somebody like that every 5 years. And give to the community some cool concert that they, you know, everybody remembers the Gene Watson concert, everybody remembers the Red Akins and Trent Wellman, and I would like to try to make that a thing that happens every few years or every 5 years. And if the funds, you know, if we can do it every 3 years, then great. My goal right now is every 5, and actually my true goal is to make it for the 70th, which is in 2 years. So that'd be 4 years since I've been doing it. So on the 70th year anniversary. Where that would take place, as of right now, I haven't made that decision because there's a lot of things that have to happen before I can even think about names and different things like that, but,
Yeah, that's probably a fair games.
and that was my thought. It depends on if I wanna charge or if I don't wanna charge, and if the school will allow me to do a concert like that at the football field. If I wanna charge, it will have to be at the fairgrounds. If I don't wanna charge and it's something where I can afford and I have enough big sponsors to be able to do that for the community for free, that would be fantastic. Whether that could take place or not, I don't know. Then I would request the football field. But again, 2 years down the road at least. Just looking forward. That's kind of where my thought is on that. And kind of what I would love to see happen for Pick and Hoe on one of those nights. Other than that, I think other than that, that's about all I have. I truly appreciate the town's support with everything. And all that they do for the Pick and Hoe and helping us get ready. And, you know, the park looked amazing this year. It looked fantastic. Not gonna go over the complaints because they've already talked to you, I'm sure. Only complaints is it looked beautiful, just the gravel was hard for strollers and wheelchairs. But again, you're gonna have that with gravel and just working out the kinks, you know? So other than that, I think it looked great, and, you know, I thought you guys did an awesome job, and I really appreciate, you know, what it looked like and how much you guys have helped with trash and porta potties and just all of it. So I really appreciate all the town support for Pick and Hoe and what we've done. Hopefully we can continue to improve and do better, and other than that, I think that's all.
I don't know why you do it. I mean, it's a lot of work, a lot of pain, you just can't, continue.
Well, thank you. So,
Board members, any questions for me?
So I just want to give a shout out to the school too, because the football field and everything always looks wonderful.
Why doesn't it though?
And
oh,
then-
yeah.
And then a shout out also to the firemen, which he's not here tonight. That was an awesome fireworks show. So I wished he was here for him to hear it, but I really appreciate their fireworks. That was awesome.
And the school, I do believe, I forgot, I didn't have a chance to talk to them. Was there any issues with the school?
No, I didn't.
Football field, anything like that?
Didn't hear anything.
Okay.
Great.
Any
Thank you.
suggestions?
No. Cool.
I
They're
think,
gonna do what they wanna do.
Yep. That's the truth.
Megan,
My turn?
sure,
Okay.
sure.
This is perfect timing with, talking policy and procedures. I have quite a few concerns with Pick and Hoe. The complaints started coming in Sunday when they lit the fire. And it brought me back to the conversations and the risks we were looking at having a fire in town of why we purchased an air curtain. An air curtain to burn the limbs. The state shut us down on having a fire because of health risks to the community due to smoke. So when the neighboring property there come in to complain about smoke, I was pretty concerned because I knew we had to take action pretty quick and change the way we did certain things in order to continue to provide services.
You're talking about burning the limbs up at the water tanks,
Yeah.
and that smoke went down and affected, some of the older ladies on that street down there, is what he's talking about. Go ahead, Dave.
And then I'm assuming Wayne
Wayne,
come in last week, his wife having a lifelong lung infection and how it affected her. I just, the liabilities for the town that is coming up to hold this event really needs to be focused on. As you know, it's good to see all the people using the facilities, but when you look at it, as we move, trying to get control of governing policies, section 4-101, harboring swine, section 22-94, camping in the park, section 12-19, drinking and noise violations. Does that open doors for easy lawsuits to come on us? The concerns about the fire that I have is we do have a rubber roof on the community center.
Stinks for weeks outdoors. Spray all kinds, it's always smell.
As far as renting the cook shack out, I don't know where
Just
you
a
were
thought.
going with that, but it would be really nice to have that open for use at ball games.
Well, and my thought was, if we were able to get all the pick and hoe stuff out, rent it out, and I don't know, and maybe I'm confused on who actually that cook shack is for. I always understood it was pick and hoe, it is on town property. So to me, if the town or the rec department would be willing to just add that in as an option for our community to rent for a family event or rent for concessions or anything like that, then to me, like either half, a portion would go to pick and hoe and a portion would go to the rec center or the town, whoever it is that would be taking care of it. And then that's just a little bit more, every little bit helps everyone.
Yep.
So, and that was my thought. It's just another little checkbox you have to put on your sheet for the community center and your situation.
So
I don't know if that's something that you guys would be interested in. It was just a thought.
It would be a contract agreement that would be
That's
added
correct.
to the park.
Do
Um,
we own it or
so
who owns it? I
The
guess?
fire department donated that.
Okay.
I don't know what Pick and O has to do other than that's kind of why it was designed, right?
Right.
The rental thing I would support that unless it was used for a town rec program.
And people do kind of sit in that little area a lot of times and use that and use the shelves of your cook shack and because there's covered seating there. I don't know if they want to just rent that, but we did talk about like you have a baseball game and having concession stand there to help, raise money to buy the equipment they need or
Cover
whatever.
maintenance costs.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, and again, like this, it was just a thought,
No, I
something obviously you guys would discuss, something obviously that doesn't need to be approved or denied anything or even talked about right now, because I don't even have a container.
But yeah, no, she's right. Right now, it's the other 360 days of the year, it just stores pick and hoe stuff. It's
unusable.
really unused other than that. So, it could be used definitely for something other than storage.
Right. And that was also my thought, is why are we have a great building here that was donated by the fire department. I thought two pick and hoe or in the whatever thought of pick and hoe. Either way, why aren't we utilizing a center that people could use or a building that people could use along with
That's
the
why.
community center?
People that will work the concession stands, send them my way.
Right?
Anything
People that
else,
work.
David?
No, I just think, and I wish Mike was here because to hold this event in town with code in place. Like I said, I don't mind complaints, but I always look at what's in black and white.
Can I ask, is there more than one complaint about the fire?
Yes,
How many complaints?
I probably had 5 complaints on the fire.
Five
Other
complaints?
complaints was the amount of days and knowledge of the previous board saying 3 days was enough. As far as holding an event right there in the middle of town, that's why the parks contract
Got
says on
changed in
there.
the first place.
So.
Yeah.
I think to make this happen in the future, you're gonna have to write up resolutions that's gonna put all these ordinances on hold. Is that,
Or just an
that's the
exemption.
hardest thing for me.
Okay.
Would they
And we
use
need
our own policies?
Consistency, it seems like I think we got, and then next year the board approved some, I mean. And really, the board at that meeting, you guys didn't ask anything, discuss anything, schedule wise, ordinance wise. You gave her full reign. It was a quick, oh yeah, you're gonna do adult pigs too, add that in the vote, good to go. Like
So
those discussions they need to happen.
I don't mind, discussions, but you act like full reign, like I'm just gonna go tear up your
No,
entire.
I don't mean it like that, but I mean, the
But that's
board
what you're
gave you
saying.
full permission as far as the number of days, what the pigs on the field, those things, all those things that previous boards and we talked about and discussed went out the window this year. That's what I mean. I'm not implying that we're purposely tearing
Okay,
anything up.
ultimately that falls on me, so I'll make sure that doesn't happen.
That, I didn't mean to apply that if that's how it
Okay.
came across.
So, and I agree, consistency,
So we
but
all know
whether
what's
it's an
expected.
exempt, your contract says all of this exempt pick and hoe, because pick and hoe is the one event that, I don't know, and that's something, obviously, yes. the
Or
board can
again, like the
discuss.
other board, maybe they approved 2 contracts, but just looking the other way and doing nothing isn't the answer either.
Okay, Steve?
Couldn't this be covered with the special events?
It is, I do have a
Or
special
they-
events.
Okay,
insurance.
then I would think that would suspend the other ordinances. Where you would address these issues going into it with the swine in town, the smoke and like that. And the public would have a chance to come in and voice their concerns to the board. But then the town would be off the hook with the special events permit.
Does the special
So
events
I think
permit
that
cover that
special
stuff?
events
I don't think it
permit
does.
covers where it's posted, so that would be at the beer tent, right there.
Just
As
for
far as,
alcohol, basically.
I had a special events permit for the entire 4th of July,
Right.
the
for
days
the
of
whole
the
park.
4th of July, for the whole.
so
park.
as soon as you step onto that street, you're no longer in that permit area, so I don't think it would.
I can find that out, guys. Well, the concerns are noted. I'll go ahead and make sure that is in place next year. It is a 3-day event next year, which makes it easier, so make it a lot.
So don't forget your concerns to bring them up before next year, because if we start to drop the ball, make sure to bring those up.
I wish, and I appreciate you remembering the shed complaint we got,
Yeah.
but I wish we could get people to show up. Because that's difficult.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Got a lot to cover yet. Is there
Real
anything else
quick,
needs to be said?
What can I tell Chris Lopez about location? Was that approved or not approved or?
As far as exact location, I'm gonna have to go and get a plan. I think it's gonna work where Brett wants it, but
Does he need to know it's gonna be right
s-
exactly?
Not
here,
exact
or
location,
You can
but
tell him it'll be at that.
like,
lo-
it'll
already?
be there, we're hoping here, but not sure on exact location. So I just need to know that I have an approval from the town that we can put it on the town property. And that we hope it's gonna be visible.
I
to-
like that location. It's actually more
It'll
visible.
have to be visible when it's donated.
Correct, and that's my concern.
I don't have a problem with that. but-
I have a question for you on that, because this come to mind. Is there any risk? You remember when Wild Coffee had a tank painted next to the highway going to Monticello? And there was a big stink by somebody calling in about advertisement, and they had to actually remove it.
CDOT has their own advertisement division. And that's way out of my department. But I do have contacts with these people if we need to contact them. That's
Okay.
fine.
This is on the city.
This is on a street, not a
But
highway.
this is far enough, if it does go over there, that's way far enough off the road that there would be no issue at all.
Okay,
There is, and I don't remember, it's like 200 feet or something like that off of the road. I don't know.
okay, I thought there was,
We don't have to deal with it much because most people actually just call in because it's been busted over so many times. So
Okay.
just get permits, but that's way far enough off. I don't see that being a conflict at all.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Donation request. What's on board there for a donation request?
The Dolores County Extension Office, for the junior livestock.
Oh,
It's
yes,
for
I
four
read
H.
that. I read that. And what is our normal donation?
$500, and we have it in the budget. We have 21,000
Okay.
in legislative, and I think we've used 13 or 14.
And
Thousand
move
so far.
that, move that we go ahead and give the Dolores County 4-H $500 donation.
I second it, that's what they've got there.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
As opposed. Motion carries. Community center bids. Christie or Lorraine, which one do you want to try to do?
Sure, so this was the bid we put out to finish, this side, I'm not good with, what side of the building, with the windows.
Oh, this would be west side.
West side, sorry, not south. Where we redid the siding and stuff on the inside, so it's replacing all those windows on that side with double pane glass, and all the trim work and matching the paint and all that stuff. We had one bid is all. He is the guy who did the others work, so he was good to work with last time. I'm excited that he did put in a bid. Did I miss anything?
Are you happy with this work?
Yes. And he was very, very easy to work with because, the community center, I'm like, okay, well, I have this time, we have rentals here, he was really awesome to work in that and on time, and he was, price-wise, he was always very reasonable compared to other contractors, so I don't have any issues with it. No,
What
not at
about
all.
the price? What do you think about that? Neither one of them.
The price of the
So-
windows.
As we know, cost is going crazy everywhere. So this is the cheapest option. If you guys know the windows, there's, I don't know how many in each window bay, 25 square cut panes of glass. And so I think the proposal was to remove the single pane, go in with double pane glass, and get a good seal around them. And I think that is a cheaper alternative than to try to get a custom built window that we would tear out and then just install. That's.
Any other questions from the board members?
Was this part of something that you had budgeted and did it fall?
Yes,
in the expected
so-
amount?
Yeah, we have this money already set aside, so if we would be asking or taking in out of any other fund, it's covered under, we have enough in that maintenance. We've got a rollover from last year's direct sales tax, so we have plenty of money to cover that and still do projects and stuff for this year as well, so.
So are you suggesting that we go ahead and approve?
I would, definitely, we definitely need to address it somehow. Honestly, if you go to my office window, give it a good push, the whole thing's gonna fall in. Like, it's that bad.
Yeah, so we'll-
It's,
Part of
and it's leaking, they leak. I mean, we just redid that, like, I hate to see it damaged, but because the windows are leaking,
If you go to that double pane, it's gonna improve on the heating, of
The
course. so you're
heating
gonna save
bill,
some
yes,
costs.
and it's expensive to keep that building every
Very much so.
winter, because there are so many just leaky windows and things like that, so.
And I'm having trouble reading his name, something home services,
All seasons.
Yeah,
all seasons.
it's Dylan Gill.
But you guys have used it before.
Yes,
Few times.
Yeah.
He's pretty good bang for the buck.
yeah, he installed the new, at the outside bathrooms, when we put in the new stalls and the painting, he did all that, so he's done a few different projects for the parks. He put in the door that's on the other side, those new, both new doors actually that were in the building.
I approve that we go ahead and, I move that we approve the all seasons home services bid for windows.
That's second.
Motion second on the floor. Any further discussion? We'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Go forward with that project.
Thank you.
We have a public comment.
I have a public comment.
We do.
Public comment. Turn the floor. Yep.
So, sorry, guys, I don't want to keep you any longer, but want to stay at the podium. What's the hierarchy here with, who do I go to in order? You are town manager, or is that the title? And then, I mean,
Ultimately, the chain would be, Dagan is an employee of the town. Everybody on the staff is underneath Dagan. So Dagan is the chain of command there. Dagan reports to the board. So, and then as far as quote unquote town manager, he's handling those duties without the title, but for the most part, he's already doing that and he's in that role he does. So yes, that would be, your first contact would be Dagan, and then from there it would be to the board.
and that's partly why I went to you for one instance
And I
way
don't-
back, Brett,
I don't
because
know that.
once, I've heard your water manager or whatever, but I wasn't sure if you're town manager or where Paul fits in that, or anybody else, I mean, Dagan, I have nothing against you. I'd rather, like I've asked before, if me and you can work together, that's great, once it gets to that point, but I just want to know where it goes before I come up here.
I'd rather you and Dagan,
So-
maintain that conversation piece.
Yeah,
And then Dagan usually comes to me if there's some concerns there that he needs my guidance, and I don't mind you doing the same thing. I just don't want us to get caught in the middle. I just need that communication to be improved between the town and the school.
yeah, and so, I mean, like I've asked before, I mean, the more you can call me on issues, if things come up, great, but I want to make it work the best we can between the
Yeah,
town,
too.
the school, the county. We need to keep it together as a staff.
Yes, I'll comment now, if you guys don't mind. So I guess I need to apologize for what you brought up earlier about professionalism and the drainage situation, because I apologize, I didn't know I handled that
I don't think it's you.
unprofessional.
Well, I
The
mean,
standard.
I just feel like anytime I call, like when I call for the school and we're in school, it might be an emergency, no matter what it is. I mean, I would hate to have to tell Ty, well, we're gonna have to do something different here, and then call all you guys for your kids or grandkids to go home. And I always get told, well, we're busy right now. I'm busy too. I mean, I get it, but like, I got an emergency I need some help with, whether it's, I mean, when I call Empire, I mean, I call the guys directly. I don't call their office because I need something right away. So, I mean, I guess, do I need to call you?
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
you,
so it's, okay, so it's not the drainage.
I don't know. It's simple.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
built up.
yes.
It's built up. over-
Okay, so we're always willing to help unless it goes outside that black and white policy. So I don't know what the emergency was. I didn't know there was one.
So I'm not sure what the
Yeah.
emergency part is. I mean, to skip back and forth, if we want to look at what I'm heard a little bit about the drainage or the freaking culvert situation.
Okay, and
You know, was like, you figure it out, but not by you.
okay, well,
It was just, I don't know, you can't do that, you figure it out. It's like,
so what we do for everybody in town, if they want an access with a new culvert, or you wanna update the existing access, it makes it really hard for me to make that call, because I gotta take it upon myself to say, without a drainage engineered plan, that 100-year storm hits, the system of culvert you install is sufficient enough, it isn't gonna affect the property owner.
and so
So-
I don't wanna go there, David.
No,
I don't think that's what I mean. It is just whenever it was like, well, what do we need to do? And it's not coming from,
in where,
it's, go figure it out. It's you gotta figure it out. It's like, you're the town person working here.
and
that's
that's what
what
I
we're
did
trying
say,
to
I said, draw me something up, because when you come to get your driveway permits, it'll have even a sketch area for it, and then you tell me what it looks like. That area is not a major runoff, so we could probably handle it in-house. Now, if it falls down in a
Nope.
big culvert area where I'm taking the risk of putting somebody's property to be vulnerable for flooding, I would probably ask for an engineered drainage study, but we don't know what you guys want to do, and we don't.
And so I guess that's just where I'm at, is
Okay.
it doesn't seem like a helpful, wanna work together relationship.
It's not the first time drainage issue has come up. Ty,
So-
and I think I'm gonna brief the board. I've got a vision in mind that would solve that problem. I just have, as I've been thinking about over the past 2 or 3 years on drainage, and I'm gonna recommend to the board a different kind of thought process, so we'll see if I can.
I mean, so with drainage, we ripped every culvert out we have. They're full of, well, besides the ones that are functioning underneath the school right now. I mean, any of them in the driveways, I hope we didn't mess with a variance to pull the culvert out.
It would be nice if the town could give its residents direction on moving drainage from the north side of the town to the south side of the town, and how to accomplish that. The past boards have not done much with that. They've left it up to the residences, and I'm not so sure that's what I would like to see.
And so, I mean, it's just if we can talk through and work through what we gotta do, then that's great. That's what we wanna look to. I mean, there is a screen behind the rock building that's been there for years that we've tried to get figured out. We don't have a culvert going into it now. It's in your right of way. I don't know if that's your guys' deal or what, but I mean,
Okay.
it needs taken care of. This.
Appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
I don't really wanna go any further here, so.
Okay. You got it.
I mean, Dave, I wanna work with you, but I mean, I have. no-
Same here, yeah,
Yes.
I apologize, I didn't.
I mean, I'll just have one complaint, and it has snow removal. And last year wasn't bad because we didn't get any snow, but if I've already cleaned something and then the town comes by and they just like dump all the street right back on us. I mean, I try to clean the street, like if I gotta go across the street to somebody's lot that's allowed us, the school to push snow, I try not to leave a berm. Just because that's not fair to the town or the residents that are driving their cars through for me to leave a berm. So I mean, I would just ask for the same consideration on that, you know. I mean, I know 2 years ago was pretty bad. I mean, it was bad just because there was a lot of snow. It was rough for everybody.
So, all this ties together with the drainage, where you want it, what you want. But ultimately, that right of way is our storage. We get a lot of this complaints on private driveways. And really, my only concern is the people that don't have the means to remove it,
Right?
and they're elderly. Other than that, it'd be like me asking CDOT to come plow my driveway. That's all, I'm sorry, I.
Well, understanding the problem and then finding a solution. That's what working
Yeah.
together is. So
Well, why can't that
understanding the
just
problem
right?
will do that.
Why can't you turn the blade and push the snow away from their driveway? That's what he's asking. Because that's what you guys do, you push that snow in the driveway, and that, he's already cleaned it once, and now he's gotta go back a half an hour later and clean it out so the teachers can get in there. I've seen it personally. And so, because I live there, and I see it, so why can't you turn the blade?
And we can, and we do.
No, you don't, no, you don't, it goes right
Hey,
into their driveway.
don't tell me how I do my job. though.
I've seen it, I've seen it. And during that snow, it went right in the driveway,
Okay, we'll,
every time.
we'll look at all that, guys, and see if we can come up with a compromise.
Well, I mean, all I'm asking is to work together.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's snow, if it's drainage, let's sit down and find what we need to do. I mean, as a school, we will do what we need to do to meet what the town needs. It's just
Okay.
working together.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Moving on to animal control.
You still on public comment?
Oh, public comment, okay.
Okay, I'd just like to say that I was involved with the county with the flood control plan in the area. We had the meeting up the other day up at the Public Service Center up here. I checked the email that I got, the town was invited to the flood control plan. Nobody was there. And whenever they were talking about it, I hope represent the town. And they were talking about Dove Creek. And I did bring up the concern of County Road H, where it leaves the city limits. There's a good sized culvert. And then East Avenue, there's just a little bitty culvert. And I've seen it sandbagged before and like that, but that flood meeting, there will be an additional one to that. So I think it'd be really good if the town was there to discuss that. And the other thing is there is a newly formed Montelores Coalition, which is a state, the governor has put a lot of money into CPAW. And we're organizing now, and there will be grant funding available for recreation. The town of Dove Creek has a seat on that board, and there's nobody's ever been there. And I can help if you keep me in the loop of what to do. Right now, that organization is more towards in the forest stuff, and I see that money being heavily influenced to go to Boggy Draw and the town of Loris. And like that, I will do what I can with the county to try and bring some of that money here, because we get very little benefit from Canyons of the Ancients. And we have a couple campgrounds on the river that could use some improvement. But the town has a voting voice and a position on that board, if that's something that you choose to do. And then I would also personally, I would like to thank the town and Sheriff Wilson for the enforcing the weed control ordinance this year. I have watched the white top just flourish and get out of line for years, and nothing was done. This year it was, thank you. And the other one I've got is Tuesday at 9 a.m. CDOT will be in the county commissioners meeting room with our yearly updated plan through CDOT. Currently, I have 2 requests into them. The first request is a traffic count of all kinds, because I always get the roundabout on that. Well, what do you want? Which mile marker and like that? I've pursued this for a year, have had no luck. So that's something I'm gonna continue on, is the traffic. And the other one is wildlife strikes on the road, because I think that Durango CDOT is turning a blind eye to us on what we need to handle on 491. So I just want to make the board aware of those things. And once again, if there's something I can do to help, let me know. And also, I'm working with Cliff, and we're working on the sign here in Triangle Park to try to get it replaced, repaired, something like that. And that's in progress.
Thank you.
So if, yeah, keep me in touch. If there's anything I can do to help, I will.
Great, thank you for that. Looks like we have two applications for animal control officer. I would like to table that till I have the other board members present and so I can get a full opinion of understanding about how the board wants to handle the animal control.
Do you want to do August 1st?
Yeah, let's move that to August 1st, and I guess I just asked for a motion, didn't I? I move we table that, the animal control till August 1st. I have a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Can you read all those notes?
Yep.
Okay. Sheriff Wilson,
She's the
do
godmother.
you have anything to report there on your side other than the report that you presented? Any concerns you want to bring to the board?
No, it's, I think I need to commend Dagan and Lorraine both. He says it was the sheriff's office, I had nothing to do with noxious weeds. That was Dagan and Lorraine. I had nothing to do with the noxious weed problem. They addressed it, they did awesome. They talked to the people, and that was the best thing that could have ever happened. And all of a sudden, Dagan jumped in with his guys. They seen what Lorraine was doing, and they wiped out the stuff too. So it was a joint effort between these two to get that noxious weed garbage down.
Okay.
And all it was an education thing, and telling people says, hey, this is a noxious weed, this is why you can't have it. And that's all they did. And he took his guys out there, they got their mower out there and cut all that junk down. And once it was identified, Steve was telling, but I also went to Gus to get that person that is educated for that kind of stuff to make sure we were doing the right thing and it wasn't Yarrow route. So we were making sure it was the right thing. So thank you both. You both did a good job. And if we couldn't have done it without you because we would have, my guys have no clue what a noxious weed is, I promise.
Some of them are really pretty.
None of them know, unless it's a thistle, they have no clue what a noxious weed is, I promise. But then you two guys put your heads together and you got your own thing.
Thank you.
And then you'll see down on executive session, there, the board is wanting to, it's been a long time since we had something written in between the town and the sheriff's department. So they're putting all their thoughts on that thing. So at some point I'll need to have you sit down and go over it. And I'd like to get something put in writing between the two entities.
And we are losing a guy in January for sure. He's going to state troopers. We are losing a guy.
Okay.
And so it is gonna get a lot more hectic on
I'm
that.
surprised you don't lose more since we got such a shortage of troopers.
We will.
Is that you're gonna train them and then you're gonna send them off to
Two
Trooper
years
schools,
and
what's
then
gonna
they're on the troopers.
that'll probably not change. That's quite a hole there. Anything else you want to bring to the board's attention if the board want to? I'll
We
tell you-
do still have those cameras. If you guys have a place where we're using them now, and we've caught some vehicles that we were concerned about in town. So if you have a concern where you want that camera, just let me know. And it gives us, just like you get those real pictures that you get, we get the real pictures as well. And it will tell us, okay, we know who this person is. And so that way we can identify, if something's happening in your neighborhood, tell us and we'll put them in.
I would like to have you guys keep your open for a retired car that we could. I really like the idea of a car sitting out here in our front with that radar gun in it.
So, like I said, the last time we did it, we know what happened.
Damage, yeah. The town would need to own the car.
Well, and it was a CDOT problem because the person that was going there didn't understand that when you go faster, it throws things farther. And it was a CDOT person that did it to us.
Now that we
So
own
Not
it.
when you were there.
Now that we know this problem.
No, not when you were there. He's no longer there. But we can put it further off the road.
Yeah, now that we own the property, we could get it over here on this side or
Correct.
something, or underneath the apron over here,
Sure can.
and then it would still pick up.
And we do have a cop car
that is, not being used at the moment, so we can stick it over there.
You know, something
I don't
like
have a
that.
problem with that. And we are addressing the weeds with midnight trucking. I don't know if they've cut them yet.
They did, they chopped
They
them.
did, because we did address that with them last week, and they should have. Yesterday was the day that they were supposed to cut it.
These guys, right? Not,
Both,
okay, these for sure are gone. I don't know about
Okay.
those.
yeah, both of them were supposed to cut it.
Okay. Thank you for that. That would help.
And that's all I had.
Thank you for your time. Christie?
You guys have. a
Thank
good
you
night.
guys for attending.
Yeah.
You bet.
I'll keep it short. But this is busy time. Summer program is in full swing, actually we'll be wrapping up. Next week is my final week of summer program. We hold that for 8 weeks during the summer, so summer's flying by. But we have served 86 kids so far at the summer program this year. I also have T-ball going on right now. That will run through August 1st is our last day. We have 24 kiddos signed up this year for T-ball. Every Tuesday and Thursday night at the ball field. Again, I will say it's the best hour of comedy there is. Please check it out if you haven't. Otherwise, I'm getting ready to start swim lessons. Those kick off on Monday, the 22nd. We have 37 kids this year signed up for swim, which is actually lower than I normally have, but there's summer school and some different conflicts going on right now. But that'll run for 2 weeks in Monticello, so that's starting Monday. Otherwise, just doing a lot of planning for fall. School will be here before we know it, which means youth football, tumbling and cheer, all those things will be kicking off very soon. So just starting conversations with those league administrators, scheduling, ordering equipment, you know, all that fun stuff that happens on the front end. That's basically all I have to report tonight. If you have any other questions for me, we keep it short, sweet.
I don't have anything. Okay, Dagan.
Well, I got a lot of topics off the paper already. So I wanted to give a TPR update, and that is that new position on the board that you guys appointed me to instead of Gartrip. I had to miss the previous meeting so I could cover the board seat I was appointed to by the county for the water, the Southwest Water Conservancy. But they are opening up what they call, it's their grant cycle. So with any luck, I should have the application and have it completed by the next TPR meeting that happens the 8th of August. And that is gonna hopefully provide the funding needed to get an engineer plan of what we want. Now, what we want, so I think there's a minimal and I think there's a dream. The main concern we have is slow these people down, right? And our plan was the road diet that takes a lane away from each side, gives us parking, possible bike lanes. Anyway, I think when we have it engineered, we come up with a couple different alternatives. The minimum of what we want and how that's gonna look as far as concerns on turning lanes, bike, how you all want it to look, during the engineering phase. But I kind of got the feeling they wanted me to go bigger, because my main concern is the safety for the public in our community. But their first comment was, you could use some sidewalks. Yes, we could, if it was a realistic deal. So I think once the engineering, hopefully we get the grant for the engineering, get a couple of ideas, how you all see that being helpful. And also hopefully get on, what you call that?
I'm gonna step back a minute, Dagan. It wasn't too long ago that CDOT was totally against sidewalks. I mean, we had the community put together a whole package, engineered it, Dan Fernandez in charge on it. Had sidewalks going all the way through town, and it was squelched by CDOT. Are you now telling me that they're open to that now, when they
So-
weren't then?
I have different memories of that. I think that has been done twice, Brett, as far as the big drain and the vision of what sidewalks would look like. And let's take Dolores. Dolores was approved and went through a CDOT grant to get their sidewalks in. And somewhere in the project, the right-of-way concerns come up, and it cost Dolores a lot of money. And that's what turned the previous management and board away from following through with that. Was just the reference that Dolores gave to management that involved that.
I would be curious to see if CDOT's in favor of sidewalks.
So they have so many different grant types. So the application I'm gonna be completing is what they refer to as the MMOF. And it is a multimodal transportation and mitigation operations fund. And that one's gonna get us going for the funding for the engineering of our vision. Where sidewalks and beautification comes from, they're all about what they call revitalizing Main Street. So that's another branch that they offer. And I'm still fairly new to this. I've only made one meeting, so bear with me. And then the other one was getting on their plan vision. So I gotta have the application, give our spill, and hopefully with our wants and needs, they put us on their long range vision plan. And that's gonna open the door for more funding through CDOT. I'm 98% sure we did accomplish the fact that Duff Creek will qualify for zero matching funds for these grants. And that was good news. That was awesome news. But like I said, I'll know a little more.
When you're talking to them, Dagan, be sure and ask them about lighting on the Main Street. Because I've always thinking that's a public safety with the traffic increasing and how dark it is when you come through town. Pretty hard to see pedestrians walking across the street.
And you know, that's perfect because in the engineered design plan, we throw them in there. You know, it's what the board develops is what we're gonna have engineered and designed. And then we'll start splitting off. We'll be eligible to go after state and federal funds combined. So yeah, what it looks like.
One thing to look into is that curb authority. Like, if you don't have that document, I do.
What is it?
Sheriff, it's called curb authority. I have been through this mainly elsewhere. When you go into a city, basically CDOT takes care of the travel path. You know, that is our right of way, you know, that's our snow storage. So where the asphalt ends and that curb pan begins is now town. So in that, it states that the town takes care of the sweeping, the town takes care of the grasses, the town takes care of the sidewalks. There is a small gray area in it. This is that we can come to an agreement, and this is, if I read it correctly, that we can come to an agreement and we can work some things out, but together. So, but look into that too. Don't forget about that one, because I found out the other day, and that's pretty important.
Okay, I've heard the term, I'm not real familiar with any of it yet. But I think something like that would ultimately have to take place, because if you're gonna take a lane away and use it for parking,
Yeah.
you guys won't be able to get over there anyway.
Yeah.
So, thank you. But anyway, Brett, yeah, lighting, any concerns we have, we should put them into a vision in the engineered design plan. And then,
And keeping in mind, I don't want them to play words on semantics, because our main thoroughfare is not Main Street. But I'm concerned, I mean, I'd love it happen on Main Street as well, but ours is the state highways, and I'm concerned about more than anything.
yes.
Well,
So,
the sidewalks, the separation of lanes, parking on the side, we got a public hazard in this town, and we can't seem to get anybody to see it. So
yes,
with you talking to Jenny, is that her name?
Jennifer, yeah.
Jennifer, any kind of opening we can do to protect our citizens, I'm just really surprised that somebody had been killed yet.
No, I agree, Brett. And I think this is the beginning, and we just start from here, so we've been waiting for that day. But yeah, that was pretty good news there. Anything else on the highway?
No, I hope he brings that car in like he offered. Anyway, go ahead.
So moving on, we kind of touched on the water treatment plant upgrade a little bit earlier. More parts and pieces showed up, and I'm just waiting on filter techs to be available to start going and installing parts and pieces.
Do you think we'll get that done by the end of the year? That timeline has sure been dragging out in my mind.
It really has. This project was supposed to be done early spring. When I had that electrician a week before the project deadline come to me and say, I can't do it. It really caused havoc. I had to find another electrician to come in and do the wiring and the conduit that was necessary to install all the new parts and pieces. Then he had to start from there and order parts. Then that overlapped the time frame Filter Tech had us allotted for. So we got pushed plumb to the back. So that's why it's not done yet. I'm ready for it.
I've been ready for it. It's just every time I turn around, we get excuses why it's not been complete.
On a percentage scale, how far are we from 0 to 100%?
So we have, to the best of my knowledge, we have all the wiring in place, the junction boxes, all that's involved there to change that plant from pneumatic controls over to electric. The problem I'm having is it's really difficult, and I had a conversation with Deb from Filter Tech today. Until they're here to do the control panel wiring, I cannot start replacing the majority of the parts and pieces that's gonna go in. Just because a lot of them's controlled by the control panel. When I do place the new ones, I gotta take a lot of my existing in-use parts out, so the plant wouldn't operate right. So it's gonna be a juggling act right now, but as soon as I get a hard date of when they could be here, things will start happening pretty quick. Filter Tech has the control panel placement and all the wires running to it. But they need to be here to install the panel itself, and that's gonna include taking all the operations and the wiring out of the existing panel, plugging them into the new one. They seem to think it's 2 weeks would be a long time for them. So it's just getting them here. Like I said, when that contractor bailed out on us, it just made everything take longer. But yeah, I'm ready, Brett.
Okay, move on to your next one there.
So I don't know where we were at as far as the wastewater ORC. Couple of comments there, if I may, if we go.
Okay, what the comment was made last time is that you were interested in handling that on your own, and that's not hiring somebody, was what brought to the board's attention. Is that what you guys understood, that you were interested in a position? Yeah, please expound on it, because
Okay,
right now
so-
it's just the ORC for the water is what we're concerned with. Maybe leaving Chris Wechter as the licensee for the wastewater and using both of those people as resources is one of the comments made at the last meeting. We tabled all of that till you had time to respond.
Okay, so thank you, and do you want to get into it, or do you want to save some of that conversation? Probably better wait for the
Okay.
experts.
Yeah, let's wait till I get all the board here.
Okay,
and then they can-
I'm good with
all of
Uh,
May I ask you a question since you're kind of on the wastewater? The clarification that Liz sent out, loved it. Thank you for that information. But I'm a little bit worried because we have deadlines with CDPHE. And they were very gracious to extend us another, 3 years? 5 years. Is that gonna be an issue with them?
It should not. I've been trying to get you something in writing other than from me on how that looks. And
Well, you work with them, so I think you would probably have a better idea. I work with them too in a different capacity and they're kind of sticklers.
they are. Here's the funny thing about this new involved DSP. We've went through 1 5-year acceptance, but 3 years we had to go in front of the board and get ready for the next 5 years. So that timeline is they want to use it as a mile marker progress report. The first series of DSB, we kept pushing the cover back because ultimately we knew 22 years of operation, the sludge amount in that lagoon is way over the maximum threshold. So we wanted to get the sludge removal done, and then we could go to the cover and the aeration and then move down the list. You've probably heard me say it before. I would call, there's one company out of Denver that comes and does this. He magically called 4 years later and says, guess what, I'm coming, and I'm like, what? So when he called, the pre-hearing statements and information was already to the Water Quality Control Commission, so we had no time to revamp the timeline. They are perfectly okay with the sludge removal. They're extremely happy. We finally got that call. So the timeline, it gives us goals, but the altercation of them could happen.
They're not as rigid as what
biggest-
you might seem, that they're flexible. I think in my experience with them, Dagan, and yours and mine experience is when they get nasty is when they see town municipalities ignoring the problem, then they have that, they're preparing that to be very stern. But at this point, for the past 8 years, we've been in contact and they seem to be very flexible as long as we're trying to solve the
Yes.
problem.
Yes,
And I think that's one of the reasons they increased our parameters. Instead of tightening them, they broadened those parameters on the ammonia standards. And I was very thankful for that. In fact, that really shocked me.
I am very thankful for
that
what
they
they
did that.
granted
But
us.
as long as we continue to move forward, if we can figure out how to pay for this stuff, I'm not expecting them to put the hammer on us. I guess is what my point of view is.
Yes, so this round of going through the process to get the DSP accepted was much smoother and more welcoming than the first round. The first round, they were almost impossible to deal with.
A lot of that previous administration fought them and threatened
And
lawsuits and
It
everything else.
was, it was uncomfortable to say the least. But we went through it, we got accepted, we did a lot of things really well concerning the rules and guidelines of the previous DSV. And I think that right there showed them we are willing to work towards where we need to be. But the main thing they realized is how poor this community is. And to hold us to hit all those improvements and with 500 ratepayers, I think they finally realized that. They put out a really good feasibility study for us. So I think, yes, Brett, so the communication and relationship that we're building with CDPHE is overcoming the past. That first DSV, I really didn't know if it was gonna go through or not. I think the only reason it did is that's the only way they're gonna be satisfied with elevated limits to their standards. The DSP, like I said, I think it'll be ongoing. Every 5 years, we're gonna have something. The elevation and limits that they gave us was very generous. And that is the most important part, is that we're meeting the parameters that are set. Because the first parameters that were set kind of come from them. And we hit 80% of the mark, but then without treatment technologies and studies, we didn't hit some. So the main thing is we try to hit them limits that they gave us. The timelines that are set forth, they can be altered. And I with the sludge removal, supposed to happen in September, that's gonna drag into October, I'm just assuming, because the way everything works. And then the process of putting together the RFPs to go forward to achieve the nano bubble system to cover how the aeration works. The wetlands, did that answer your question, Sally?
Yes.
Okay. So no, they're extremely happy with the progress we have made, knowing the conditions and position we're in.
What would help the board, Dagan, is if in the prioritizing of what is our plan, one, for sludge removal. Second, it seems to be some discussion, what is priority, the nano bubbles or the lid? Do we need to prioritize the nanotechnology before we put the lid on it? Do we need to put the lid on it and then work at it? What comes before the horse on those two?
So, and this is my observation, my opinion. They should almost go together, because I'm new to the nanotechnology. I know how it works. I can't tell you exactly the efficiency when it involves our plant. Either way, with or without the nanotechnology, the aeration would have to be re-engineered and designed just to place the cover on, because we have surface aerators in use now. And you can't really have them in operation when you want the cover.
And the other thing, when you're talking to Chris, he led me to believe in one of his comments, and I didn't have time to expound because of time, and the time's getting away from us again, that he had an alternative solution to the nanotechnology. He was looking at two different possibilities to solve that problem and not just relying on the nanotechnology. But he was not given the opportunity to expand on it. You guys remember him saying something about that? But it seems like there was two possibilities. You might ask him or clarify that with Chris.
Kramer or
Wechter.
Okay.
Chris
It seemed
Wechter.
like it had something to do with the aerators, but I don't remember exactly.
But he wasn't totally sold on the nano as a solution to our problem, is what I felt. And I didn't know whether he was just, I was misreading him or not. But, I'd like to know what, I need to continue the thought process. Yeah, sludge room. Now, have you figured out a way to, part of the contract is you're to drain that pond one or the fermentation pit prior to their arrival. Have you figured out how you're gonna do that yet?
Yeah, this is a new rodeo for me. Now, there is. Okay, so yeah, that's gonna be real interesting and to me needs to be go as efficient as possible. I've never been involved in sludge removal. That process should actually be a 5-year routine planning maintenance item. That, of course, that's where we're going and that's why we sit where we're at. So my plan is diverting from pond one to pond two. I have the ability to do that. I don't know how well the old infrastructure is gonna work for me, but the means are there.
The pipes underground to do that, the pipes in place to do that?
Yeah, we have overflows and bypass routes that
I remember you telling me that.
I'm going to use.
I was afraid you'd have to get a pumper or a hydrovac or something to pump it out and put it in pond two is what I was worried about. If you can't divert it through our present bypass line.
Right now, I'm gonna say I can divert it. How, things are very old down there. My biggest concern is we're paying by the gallon for the contract. So the more dewatering I can do, the better. So I'm gonna divert it. And then I think we're also gonna have to throw pumps in and try to suck the remainder down at the bottom. Because the fermentation pit's 30 deep, where the exiting route for the water of pond one is 5. So the dewatering is gonna be key in the amount of sludge we get out. Remember, the amount of sludge we're getting out is far less than the amount of sludge we need to get out. The contract covers hopefully enough to empty the fermentation pit because that's the magic of the plant. That's where everything happens. The nitrification processes. So yeah, hopefully getting that done and in hopes with the nanotechnology vision of dissolved oxygen rates being increased to the point it starts reducing the sludge by itself. If you remember that conversation, I think we're gonna be fine. But I don't want to shut down the dewater too soon because I don't want solids going into pond two where they realistically don't belong. So, yeah, so I like I said, it has to go pretty efficient.
That's why I was wondering if you could test it and then stay in communication and then by estimation, whatever resource you had, how fast can we dump pond one in order to get them on their time schedule? Right now, he's telling me it looks like it's gonna be later October now before he can get to it. But he's telling me 12 truckloads. And after that, before I signed the contract, I told him I need to make it clear that once you reach those 12 truckloads, I need to call a meeting to see how much more we're gonna take out, if any, because that's our budgetary concern. But
and I don't think we'll be able to take any more than that 12 was my understanding. Because the land application permitting that they handled to take our sludge, only that's their permit limitations.
When I was talking to him, and please confirm it all with you, they are making preparations for a total of 14. But they're not gonna go above 12 unless the board approves it. But they're now starting to think that there's 2 more truckloads that could come into play. I don't know who's doing the math, but so that's gonna be a call. You're gonna have to recommend the board with the DSV and CDPH. Can we stop at 12 for budgetary concerns and let the nano bubbles do their thing and us stay in compliance. That decision, I would like to know that information before I call a special meeting and everybody's mobilized, because it'll be a quick decision.
Yes,
for this
and,
board.
and that said, just going back, we know there's more than 14 truckloads that could go out of there. So,
Will 12 pass? Can we get the 12 out of there and move on?
and that's my hopes. I hope with the 12, we at least get the fermentation bit where it needs to be. And then less concern on the remainder of farm.
Probably good if you tested that theory. Let's see if all the integrity of the bypass lines are in place. I don't know if it's ever been used in the last 8 years. we've never used
No,
it. And,
it's, the overflow has been used. I've seen that, and it's the same route and process. But you guys know that last time them gates were opened and then valves were used was when it was brand new in 2020. There has been zero maintenance done down there since. So they're very corroded, they're very built in.
I'd like to test that system before they mobilize. To see if you can do that. See what I mean? Is that possible or not?
I just don't,
I hate for you to crank
it's
it like
like
this. and have a
plumbing,
breach.
yeah. Once you pull that gate, that gate might not be the same. And that scares me. I'd rather do it once and deal with the problems that may occur while doing it.
Something that you can handle and not delay, because if we delay their mobilization and their thing, they're gonna be penalties.
Yes,
For sure, so, because they've got their crews here.
yes. So no, it's gonna be a learning experience for us all,
Okay.
but I'm hopeful.
Did I hear a comment that you guys are gonna, the suggestions to rebuild our 5 cells down there? Did I hear something like that?
So
That you
it's
guys are
in,
not
it's
happy
in,
with?
it's in kind of the timeline. And it was one of the things that we were gonna try. Again, 20 years ago, them cattails were planted and they are ran 2 different ways. There's subsurface and then anyway, so you run one cell full, the next one goes down to subsurface. The cattails sit below some cobble rock. The bad thing is they're lined for seepage reasons. They are so overgrown. If you guys go down there, you should, and see the size of them cattails, 15 feet tall, and all the years of cattails growing in there and then dying off. I really think the decay has a lot to do with the effluent discharge and meeting our parameters. Because they are so full of dead vegetation. Once that starts to break down, it affects the end result. The cattails are another magical piece of that creation down there. For instance, we are leaving with effluent 3,000 gallons a day. We're taking in 60,000, so they drink it all. But I do believe that the over vegetation of the dead is putting too many organics back in to reach our total
Part of it.
dissolved solids.
For the board members, part of the reason we've had to raise our rates is for the stuff that you're hearing and going on that the public doesn't know about. But the town's got some serious problems on the water and the sewer. And 8 years ago, we were running a I think it was $74,000 red number in those departments. And with these upcoming problems, the board started thinking we had to start making some changes in the way we think. We could no longer think the way we did in the past.
And it kind of all came to a head when all these regulations started trickling down from the state. You know, regulations are changing, they're getting tighter. the plant, they expect you to have your plant to meet these numbers. And they're ongoing. 2026, it's gonna be another round. Phosphorus and nitrates will be coming into the picture, so that'll, to me, they're gonna have another DSP for that. It's just insane, and it would be really nice to hit EPA standards, is all I gotta say. So no, it's gonna be ongoing. But we'll get there, we'll get there.
Going on, David, anything else?
Cleanup day went well, I think both of them did. The last one, we didn't get near the trash, we almost had one full empty dumpster.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the first round, it had a little bit in it, but I'm still gonna say it was really 2 dumpsters.
Wasn't attended as well as far as our public's concerned.
So, I think that was good, but I think in the future, 3 maybe too many. And that also comes into the next thing. From 1 o'clock on, not a car showed up. We stayed open till 4, mainly in the past, the dumpsters were full, but we need to take the tree limbs. So,
We paid guys to stand there for 3 hours. at
Right.
meetings.
so maybe with the 2 dumpsters, and it's all what you all want. And then we go till the dumpsters are full, and then, I don't know how that works, but just kind of relaying the information that I was given, something to think about. Because I don't believe we're doing another one, right? We're done for the year?
Done for the year. I'm just wondering if that was at the wrong time. This July one, right after the 4th of July, don't work.
Could be a timing issue.
That first one was perfect time. The second one, there was no way I could do anything. As long as you're doing it through after the 4th of July, people are doing other stuff. And I think the other one should be in the fall, in my opinion.
Okay, and like I
See
said,
what everybody comes up with, but that's just my opinion. The second one needs to be in the fall after school started. Harvest is over, the farmers have slowed down.
okay,
That's whatever the board decides. to do.
yeah, and then you guys set the dates that this goes on, so, perfect. Equipment, the Champion grader is up and mobile and in use. Can't say enough about the crew and the diversity they have. Oh, Wyman, he's pretty good at repairing stuff, and the overall cost to get everything to hold fluid was pretty reasonable. My opinion is, I see it useful for what it is. It's a very old grader. It's an old Champion. It would meet our needs for alleys and the lagoon, anything we need to grade. Because I know Brett was approached before about selling it, and I think for what you would get out of it, it's worth just keeping for what it would do for us. The downfall is I need a couple of tires. And I'm sure they're not real cheap. I don't have a price, but with your guys' blessing, I would like to put a couple of tires on. Then we can really get it out. So, the swim bus, really good point was brought up to me that outside of my wheelhouse. The swim bus. And Cliff, you probably help me out here. Every year, commercial equipment needs to go through an inspection. And they inspect the thing, they put some sort of sticker on it saying this bus is safe to be on the road. So Paul brought that to me, and I agreed for the liability purposes that we should probably do that in case something ever was to come up and have an accident with that thing full of kids. So I think that sticker, whatever it is a good thing.
It's a federal motor carrier annual inspection sticker.
Yes,
Yeah, I would have to agree with you 100%.
perfect. I knew you know that.
So go back and tell me what bus you're using.
So, we're using the bus that I grew up riding on. It was
Parked at
donated
the
from
water
the
plant
school.
always.
That one up there?
That's our swim bus.
Just went
I
over
was
here.
unaware we wouldn't let you to school use the bus anymore.
No, something happened there and the school donated
I
that
didn't
bus
even
to
know
the
it
town. And it's not a bad bus for getting used once a year. It actually runs pretty well, I think.
What year is it?
Barb took her driving test in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
She's been
70s.
driving the bus.
I think 76 was coming to my mind when I looked at the
Most
instructor.
everything we have is in the 70s. But
Any of that stuff can still pass inspection.
all in all, I was rather impressed the report we got back. We need to replace a drag link and a couple of carrying bearings and a U-joint. So throughout this all, I thought, well, that's not too bad, but it is gonna cost a little money. It's something that you need to start thinking about as you continue with that program. That bus is old, and how are you gonna replace that? So I was very nervous of having somebody inspect it, but I felt it was the right thing, and the outcome was pretty good, a couple of bulbs, yeah. So just wanted to bring that up, because that's kind of a new procedure that I think was necessary.
So do you have a driver?
We hire one of the, usually one of the schools
Oh,
certified,
okay.
so Barbara Saunders is driving the bus again this year.
So we insure this bus all year long, just use it for 1 year.
We do, because it's actually cheaper to do it that way. Look, we looked into it last year, because previously we were just doing that 1 month, and they're like for 1970 something bus. It's cheaper to just keep it on than to take it off and take it and put
It's
it on.
really, really reasonable.
But yeah, it is crucial. I mean, we have to have a way to transport them to
Right.
swimming lessons. Yeah, when it goes down, I don't know what that solution is. I don't know, I mean, a new bus, I don't know what that costs, but that might be hard to justify that kind of a cost that's for something that's only used 2 weeks
Well, I'm
out of the
wondering about
year.
when it starts to go down, if it'd be just feasible to lease 2 vans just for the week.
It could be a better option, maybe. And maybe the school could work some sort of agreement with us to, I don't know. But, yeah,
If you lease the van, you don't have to have CDL drivers, it would just, anybody can drive. That's just something you can look into.
55 kids and 15 women.
Four vans.
Anyway, yeah, so I thought that was pretty good information.
So in other words, you guys are gonna volunteer to
I
drive the
would,
van?
but usually while I'm harvesting. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, I definitely thought that was a good conversation, because it's getting some age on it. Like I said, I think it runs really well for what it is and what we use it for, but we should look to what the future looks like, because, I'm guessing this repair bill will probably come in $1,200. And so it's, like I said, it's not out of reason, and I'm glad we had it done and completed it and moved forward, because
Makes me feel better too. I ride that bus.
I'd drive that bus. Anyway, moving on, the topic of code enforcement, you heard a lot of my concerns under this line earlier. And the hardest thing of sitting in the seat that I sit in is trying to govern the public. We are having a very hard time overcoming the handshake deals and the favors, and because I will not govern like that. If it says in black and white under our ordinances or policies, that's the answer you're gonna get. So going back to the school thing, like I said, I didn't know the drainage thing was an issue. I've had a couple already done and this year, but the procedure is you come get the permit, so we know you're gonna be in the right of way and digging or installing. And we know you're gonna follow the basic rules of, calling in 811s and the whole process there. But ultimately, on that permit, there's a little diagram sheet that lets me know what you want, where it's at. And then I can take that permit and make sure it aligns with the state statutes as far as distance away from stop signs, fire hydrants, other entrances. So there's a lot that goes along with that permit. And I don't see any other way around that. I don't see any other answer for them. I cannot answer their questions until I know what they're looking at or what they want. Like I said, that one, you guys leave that in my wheelhouse to make the calls on driveway acceptance. And that one would probably be easy enough, but like I said, the hardest part for me is assuming the liability that without an engineered drainage study that makes me feel comfortable that I'm not gonna harm Sally's house when it rains. So that's why the permits are in place. That's why we have the procedures the way we do. And just a reminder, I treat everybody the same. Everybody gets the same answers. Everybody gets the same rules. I won't treat anybody different than I treat the next one. And the governing policy lets me do that. When the complaints come in with all these concerns of the ordinances that were overlooked, I have really nothing to say. And that makes it really hard. Because I understand their reasoning and I understand, but my hands are tied. And it got really, really, really complicated for 2 weeks over the 4th. Okay, I'm to Sally's DSP questions, but we're past that. Just to wrap this up. So we need to develop some RFPs for the work that we need to, the upcoming work that's gonna happen at the lagoons. As we move closer to getting that procurement policy in place, that's always gonna be required as part of it. So we need to start putting those together. The question was asked as far as owners reps on different projects. Would Solder Miller take that on? And the answer is yes, they do have that. And they threw out the idea of an RFP for what they call an on-call RFP. So an on-call would cover the needs that you know you have. And then also cover something that may come up that you have questions on down the road. So would you guys like to see a couple options of kind of how that looks when we're going out for proposals?
I think having an informed board is the right thing to do. So if you want to try to put something together for the board, then they can study it.
Okay,
There was some comments that they'd rather not use Solder Miller. Some people are in favor, some people are against. They want an independent or objective view between the engineer and the town, but I didn't put something together.
So other than Stoddard Miller, I wish we had more involvement when it comes to overall collection of bids. And I think, the name I continue to see in the DSP projects and in the water projects, there's other firms out there I would like to hear from. SGM from Glenwood, I think. I bet they had 80% of the engineering of the DSPs. So learning that, we have people that we can now send to try to get their attention, but
I don't know if you remember that guy, but when I went to Cortez, he said he wanted to visit with you when I had to tell him that we did the water project. And pickleball was a successful thing for everyone. And I told him about the sewer pond and stuff, and he approached me, he asked how you were doing. I thought you knew me.
that name looks familiar.
But he told me to have you contact me because he wanted to visit with you about stuff. And he's an engineer, and he said he's been in the business for 45 years, but
I know that name, but I cannot put a face with it.
What's his name?
Denzel,
Boanna Hunt?
No, Denzel
Oh.
Worthington.
Don.
Dunzo.
Some people call him Don.
Yeah, for some reason that name, anyway, yeah.
He said you guys, I think you were all in a water board meeting in Ignacio. He said he sat at the table with you guys visited. And
Oh,
anyway.
yes. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about now. And he did come to my office one day. Awesome.
I thought I'd given, I'm sorry, I thought I'd given you that card or given it to Lorraine, but I kept it, sorry.
No, I'm glad you told me where we met. Now I know the guy you're talking about. Okay.
He did say he was an engineer, and did projects, so I don't know.
And it's just really hard to, we advertise in so many different places. We put it out there where we know to put it out there, but we don't get a whole lot of results.
Well, okay, you guys are all gonna realize how dumb I am.
Oh,
We got our ballots in April or whatever, the first primary voted. Thought I was done until the general election. I didn't realize we had another election in June, and Gary got his ballot here a couple days ago. And I'm like, why did you get a ballot? I still haven't gotten one, but I didn't know, so, and I don't live on the computer, so I don't get a lot of news either, and frankly, I really don't care to search because I live on a computer. I don't want to be on the news more than I have to.
I'm with you. So, yeah, so I wish we had more people that would respond to what we put out. I don't know how to make that any better. Now that we're getting a few names that we know we can call and say, hey, we got this out there if you want to take a look. And that's what I was planning to do with a couple of firms that I seen involved with the DSP process. Because like I said, that one firm, I bet, did 80% of all those DSP. And that firm is the one we're trying to follow as far as what they did in Durango West. So they were the founders of the plan we're trying to follow. And so anyway, that's all I got.
Want me to talk super quick? We've got exciting things that we're working on in the office, that maybe didn't make it onto this sheet. We've been working on um, taking the time to go through things, and it takes a lot. Sally and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. We're going through things and it takes more time on the front end, but then it frees up our time in the back end. One of those things being next bill pay. That's interfacing that you guys voted on, I think 2 meetings ago. We've got about 44 people using that right now. And we haven't even had that for months. So it's a new hub. You log into it and you can pay your bill. You can see your last bills for the last 12 months. We were having problems with the old system where people would log in, but they would forget their account number. So they would inadvertently pay someone else's account. So we would have to think, did you really mean to pay this one? Or did you just switch your numbers up? And we'd have to call people continuously, hey, what's going on? So this interface is gonna really help us out. Error wise, and it just takes us a lot less time. Next bill pay updates like every 5 or 10 minutes. So you go on and make your payment at 3 o'clock, the 3:10, it's already in our water sewer system. So that's really cool. Another thing that's happening, because we're finding a little bit more of that time, is we're applying for more grants. Liz is going after some grants for water meters. You can explain this better than I can. Do you want to explain that part?
So basically it'd be similar to everybody else that's modern, like remote reads. Your guys don't have to go manually read the meters. There's 2 options. The unit you get in your truck and you just gotta get close enough to transmit a signal. Or the option like kind of what Atmos uses, you put up an antenna, which theirs is mounted on that old water tank we have. And then everything to transmit to that, and then it bounces the signal to the receiver here in the office.
So right now it takes us about 2 to 3 days to complete a reader mead cycle where the guys go out, read the meters, we come back, enter it into the system. And the system flags us for any high usage. We send the guys back out to go see if the meter's spinning, if it's indicative of a leak, or are they watering, something like that. So that whole process takes us about 2 to 3 days, depending. I mean, in the summertime, it's worse because people are watering. So we get all these high usage flags, which means more calls to the customers. Just wanted to let you know, you've got higher usage than normal, that kind of thing. So this would free up a lot of that. We could probably read meters in like an hour or 2. So we're looking into that. We're looking into waste tire removal grants. There was mention about where does Buddy put his tires? And I was part of that at the county with the waste tires. So we're looking into that. We should hear back on the SIPA grant. It's a micro grant in August. Liz applied for that one also to get some more laptops to buy our own OWL, because this one is loaned by the commissioners to us. I think there was some communication, some radios for the guys, handheld radios, so they can communicate with each other. So we should be able to hear back on that in August. We're just really focusing on trying to take as much human error out as possible, use our systems to their max capacity, run these reports that we've never used before. And we're seeing it come together, and we're seeing some more time where we can focus on other bigger things. So that's exciting. We're excited for that. Then we've got, you can see.
For 7 years, I've been waiting to get this in place. It'd be good. And that 7 years, I've been waiting to try to figure out how to protect the taxpayers' money and yet make money on it. To have $2 million in reserves in the general and not draw interest on it, 0% interest, and that's been going on for 30 years. Made me sick at my stomach. This program that we're in right now, the money is safe. We can move the money in and out whenever we want to. And we made $4,000 in interest in this month alone.
Wow.
we're up to 32,400 up to the year already.
We
so-
started the end of February.
and we
like
started in
29.
February. That, to me, that is good use of taxpayers' money.
Yeah, it is.
And in fact, we can move that money in and out without penalties. In 7 years looking for that tool, and it's just now coming to play, but it's,
And I've been
A long
asking them, I just got them to raise us again, so we're at 4.8%. I've been in their ear. They're probably annoyed with me, but I'm willing to ask, so. And we could use the money, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We're working on installing accessibility for ADA compliance. Our website is not very user-friendly. So accessibility went on and tried to install a code onto it. They couldn't figure it out, their IT couldn't figure it out, so we're working with SIPA, the State Internet Portal Authority, to try to get us to be able to actually install accessibility. It's a mess. I have faith that we can do it, but we're not in a contract with accessibility. It's $49 a month. And if we can't get it installed, I'm sure we can get that 1 month back. Let's see.
the reason we're with State Internet Portal when the board decided to do that is because of the protection and hacking. If we're in SIPA, then we have support to protect us if we get hacked. So that's why the board went with SIPA.
And it is, it's a
Back in the
lot
day.
harder for everything, which makes it a lot harder for hacking. I had Jason come in here one day a couple of months ago to try to see if he could help me figure out how to get something on the website, and he couldn't figure out, and that's what he does. And I was like, "God, good, because I can't figure it out either. But we're working on training through that also. I attended the DCDC quarterly meeting. That was interesting. Yeah, it is. They asked me to be part of the DCDC board. I don't have time at the moment to do that, but I'm gonna be going to the quarterly meetings, or Dagan, whoever can make it, can make it. They presented an opportunity for us, for a local artist to create a window cling to put in the lobby of our window, so it's viewable from the outside, free of charge. It's a beautification of the town project. So Silverton's doing it right now. Rico signed on for a window or two, and then I signed us up for one window up here. So that'll be exciting to see, and I think we'll be able to choose what, they'll give us a couple of options, and then we can choose what we want. I thought that was kind of a neat thing. The admin planning grant, so the one that we got back at the beginning of this year to cover a portion of the EID. So we're doing this new reservoir, second reservoir to hold the water. And we had to do an EID on that. And we actually got an admin planning grant to cover, I think, 25 or 26,000 of the 51 or 52,000 that the EID is gonna cost. Anyway, that drop dead date is July 30th. It's coming up. And so at the beginning of July, we wrote a letter asking to extend it. I talked to Patrick Rondinelli today, and he said it looks like we should be on track to extend it. Worst case scenario, Sauter Miller's gonna just give us our invoice earlier so I can get it in on the grant cycle on time.
You got Patrick to call you back.
I know, we actually had a meeting with him today.
You
I
had a
saw
meeting
him,
with
yeah. Let's see, on Monday, Mike's gonna come and we're gonna work on ordinance violations and what that's gonna look like with this town staff taking more of that responsibility on. So that'll be pretty interesting. And we've got 29 accounts on ACH. I think that's about $2,400 a month that comes in. And I was pretty excited about the past due list. We're at 22 accounts with $250 or more. We recorded 8 liens last month on properties. So once you get over $250, we take that up to the treasurer's office, and she actually collects that money and attaches it to your property taxes, and it doesn't cost the town a cent. It costs the taxpayer 10% on her fee. Because we had, like, goodness gracious, I want to say like $8,000 to $10,000 in past dues that we weren't collecting, and we we didn't know how to do it, but we found a way how to do that. And, so that list is getting lower and lower. It seems to be the same people on that list all the time. But I think when I started here, it was like at 52 people on the past 2 accounts, and now we're down to 22. So people are talking or something. Sold a lot of water through the water dock. There's 64 traffic stops this month from the sheriff, from the 42 that he was kind of stuck on there for a while. We had 2 dismissed because they didn't put the right time in, or they wrote a birth date, something silly. Mike asked the judge if this was pretty consistent with what he sees in Dolores County for court, and he says it's very consistent from our sheriff's office. In other words, they're not doing it to hurt us. They're just doing it across the board. The little errors that cost us tickets.
Any questions for him?
Sounds good to me.
Well, I guess I have one more thing. So the school called about maybe a month and a half ago, maybe in May. And I think I talked to Vern, and he said, we need you out right now for an emergency to run our sewer line. And I said, I'm sorry, but we have the new policy where the town cannot touch your sewer line. We had some instances that blew up. We can lose our insurance if that happens. And I do apologize, but we can no longer run your side of the line. And he asked me 2 or 3 times, please do this for us right now. And I said, we cannot, we absolutely cannot. We cannot chance our insurance being lost. We cannot chance something blowing up on your site and then our insurance having to cover that. We cannot do that. And he kind of got huffy with me, and he says, well, what do you expect me to do? And I said, well, if I was in your shoes, I would call a plumber to have the plumber come run your line. And so I don't know if I was part of that problem. I probably was. But at the same time, I don't know what we can't bend on those things because it's going to cost us in the end. So if you want something handled differently, please let me know. I didn't raise my voice with him. I just talked through him. I told him why.
We ran Brandy Fisher's line and it went backwards. And we ended up paying, I don't know, $5,000-7,000 to redo the inside of her house. We've had a couple instances like that. That's why all that developed, is with the pressure that we use, the technique that we use, and the pressure we do that, and it goes the wrong way. And then it costs money to fix the problem. In order to correct that problem, you get a tool from a licensed plumber to go unplug that on the resident side because of things like that. I don't remember what caused the Husky property where we ended up buying a whole new furnace. I think that job run is $15,000 because we backfilled and flooded their entire basement and with their furnace. And then we ended up having to buy all that and redo all of that. So there is some stories behind the stance that she took with the school. If that is their concern, then the board needs to figure out if that's the way we want the staff to continue to operate. There's some other.
Kind of shocked that the school would even ask us that in the first place. That's in their budget for their maintenance.
Well, I think previously the town did run their sewers. And so that's where they had that in their mind that, hey, we have a sewer issue, we're just going to call the town. And so that's part of that thing where we're running into where people have done things previously. It's like, for instance, my fence on my front yard. I live on 9th and Dove, and we replaced our fence probably in 2017. And we had Sunny come over, and Sunny said, if you put the fence exactly where the old fence was, you will be in compliance. Well, come to find out, my fence is on the town's right of way. Like 2 feet. I can see it on my survey. My fence is way out here. I would have much rather have known and moved my fence in 2 more feet and to be on my property and out of the right of way when I did it. but I wasn't told that. So things like that we're running into, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating to me because every time I see the snowplow coming down or something like that, please don't hit my fence. I don't have it in my budget right now to replace it, even though it is my fault.
So that led into the house over on the Randolph property where
Mhm.
they wanted to redo that fence and Paul said, no, you're not gonna do that. And that caused a lot of rift, but that was, you guys calmed that down between you and the staff, but we didn't get it calmed down.
I thought we did, and then it blew up again.
Recently,
Yeah, over policy and that's pretty deep conversation. If you want me to get into it, I will.
not this late.
But no, she's exactly right. When that ordinance number 230 went into effect in 2020, before I even sat in this chair, all we had to do is just enforce it. And Cliff, I couldn't look you in the face, knowing that I can't help you, but I wouldn't help somebody else. I could not sleep at night with that on my shoulders. I just couldn't do it.
But we run the main lines when someone calls in for that, and sometimes it'll pull the plug from their side and out. But we can't run theirs. We don't know what their pipes look like on their side. We could cause damage to that. We could collapse their pipes, and then that's a never ending thing.
While we're on topic, I do have one question, and, like I said in my interview, this is part of the reason why I'm here. And Dagan and I have had many conversations about this, and I never could figure out why the town come up with the idea that from the edge of my property to the main line, even though that's under the street, is my responsibility. Trash trucks drive over it. All this equipment drives over it every time a chip seal job comes in. We have rollers and stuff. So in my instance, my problem is there. My problem is not on my property. I replaced all its own. I'm sure I'm not the only one in town that has had that issue. And that is one question that I've always had, is why that decision was made.
Give me an answer then.
Please.
The thinking at that point is when a person purchases a sewer tap, water tap, you got your main line that the town owns, and then the town oversees the install of the tap. But from wherever that tap joins the main line, from that point, it has felt that it's a personal property going from the town's main lines toward the residents, regardless of where it sets on right of ways. The decision back then was if you are responsible for the main line for the taxpayer's part, and you tap into the main line, oversight with what goes in that tap, and as that line turns and goes to the house, then that becomes the property owners, regardless whether it's in the middle of the street. There was a lot of talk of where do you stop that? Well, do you go to the right of way? And if so, then do you change the tap procedure altogether? In the past, the town started doing everything from the tap clear to the residents, and they went clear to the house, and they took all care of all of that. But when the attorneys got involved, then it got into this personal property. When do you switch from municipal property to resident property? So the decision was made whenever they connect into the main line, that tap from there on has to be absorbed by the residents or the business. Of course, the board can change in thinking, but that's where it began, was that topic there. Did I say that right, Megan, as far as what you understand about policy?
Yeah, I think you were pretty spot on. And
And it has got, and a lot of the problem is when it was designed, the cleanouts weren't properly put. So we had no clean out. So then they would call the town to come in and run it backwards because they put no clean outs from the main line clear into the house and there was nothing in between. So now we're trying to get people to put clean outs on their side of the right of way so we can get in there and work out if it's in the main or if it's going this way.
I put one of those clean outs in and nobody would run it because they said the town board said no.
On the clean out going this way.
Yes, I installed one on my property line and I installed one at my house. Property line goes under the street where the problem's at. The other one is mine. And I take care of everything my way. But here lately, I've been cleaning that one out too.
Going from the clean, because you get to do the Y, but you're doing the one going to the main to
And
make
it's a
sure
one
it's
way
open.
clean out that goes that way.
You might bring that up to the board as a whole.
And this is not just about me. There's gotta be other residents in this town that want the same help.
Oh, it's terrible.
And I'm here to help the town, but I'm also here to help the people.
And then we got complaints from the people that's trying to make a living on plumbing that we're encroaching on their business because we're leaving town property, should be theirs instead of ours. So then you're interfering with commercial businesses.
Well, I definitely, I
You
hired
definitely,
somebody
you know,
to take care of cleaning out last time. I totally paid someone to do it. And I had him inspect all of the stuff that I did just put in and it was fine. But I can agree with that too.
but you know, if you're doing the main like that, like down on the streets down there by the farmhouse, that's always been a problem. Down there, cleaning the main constantly. And well, it was Jason's house.
Yes.
It's Jason's house, we had some problems. Cleaning the main out, but not being able to help him figure out where that plug was at between him and the house. It's very frustrating. And we can't be a part of that solution instead of just walking away from it. I'd like to be a part of the solution instead of creating problems. I just I don't know where to draw the line. But right now, the line is town residents. Connection point. There's the line. That's the way it's set up in the policy now.
That's the only copy I have.
Now, as they try to enforce policy where we are a policy setting board, the board can always revisit if there's a better plan. But understanding that policy and the liability of it as you read through that, the board can always revisit on it. But that's the way it's set up right now. So they enforce the ordinances and the policies we put in place.
Yeah, and every time I've ever talked to Dagan, we've been very understanding of each other. So
It's-
it's been good.
We're both in awkward positions and
And I deal with the stuff with the state.
And I appreciate it as well, I
have to
do.
be in your position all the time, state related.
I appreciate the way you react versus what we normally see. So on that topic, I'm gonna say 85 to 90% of municipalities are very similar to the ordinance and the responsibility from the town. Now, ultimately, that is a choice of the board on how they want to write that policy. I'm just respecting the past board's decision for drawing policy up and trying to follow it.
You know, and the frustrating thing is as I sit in this chair is it goes against some of the community responsibility as far as working together in cooperation. But as new people move in, it seems like I have one guy that give him 5 feet, he takes
Yeah.
a whole lot more. And it is frustrating. Because in the past, we've always helped each other accomplish without having all these rules and regulations in place. I don't know. I'm open to any solutions. But there was a lot of research from other towns, what other towns are doing and the direction they're going. It seems like this is the direction that all the municipalities are doing, the majority of them. This line and let it play out. But I'll tell you what, it's hard when you get a call. Lloyd Knuckles, midnight. Brett, I've got a reunion going on down here. My sewer's plugged. What do I do with all these people? Well, have you found where the plug's at? You sure it's not in the house? Have you checked the toilets? Have you checked the showers? Is it an internal plug? Is it an external plug? No, I haven't. Well, check that out for me. Call me back. Well, after it's all getting said and done, we sent Zach down there to do that, and Zach did that job, and it was on their side. It wasn't on the town, but it is difficult to not dispatch the town on a long-term resident, and he's got family in and they can't use the toilet. And it's midnight. Go to bed, wake up in the morning, and it'll get better. But, I've taken a lot of calls about the policy. I don't know if you guys got a better way to handle it on all ears.
It's tough.
But, look forward to the time I step out of the chair. Anything else? If not, let's move to adjourn and I'll table everything else I need to say later on.
I'm at 14 hours overtime
You did 14 hours
this
overtime?
week. I'm at 94 hours. For the last 2 weeks, not 94 this week.
I know it's been a lot of hours.
So anyway, so it was a good vote to bump me the little bit. And I appreciate that. That came out completely wrong. I appreciate that very much. I'm just saying you got your money's worth this last 2 weeks. That came out totally wrong.
I think we got our money's worth anyway.
You don't have a choice.
I have a motion.
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
A second.
I have motion second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Motion carries. Thank you for coming, guys.
Dave, can I take this home and bring it back tomorrow?
You can keep it.
I'll keep that.